Get ready because this video is packed with Dollar Tree crafts perfect for fall. For the first craft, we are basically just going to start gluing blocks together long ways. We're going to create a row of 4. And we're going to do this several times, as a matter of fact. So just keep following me along here. Once you have all 4 glued, we're going to glue those together. And we're going to create a total of 8 rows with 4 blocks in each and hot glue them together, just like you see here. And it's easier to go row by row than one by one on the larger block. Once you have that, then we're going to build 2 smaller ones with 2 rows of 4 blocks each. And it's all going to come together and you're going to see how fun this is. It doesn't matter if you use the darker or the lighter tone blocks because we're going to paint it anyways. All right, so here I'm building my last section. Then we're going to hot glue them together. So you should have a larger block like this and then 2 smaller ones just like this. Now we're going to paint them. I'm going to use this Waverly chalk paint in the moss color. It's just gorgeous and it's a great color for fall if you're not into that orange bright color. Then we are going to put that to the side. Now the smaller ones, we're just painting the edges. So not the top, not the back, basically just the edges, just like you see me doing here. And then once dry, we are going to add Mod Podge to the top and we're just going to spread it and let that dry. If you're new here, this is a new technique that basically you just want to add Mod Podge to any surface, let it completely dry, and then you can add paper or fabric to it, and I'll show you how fun. While those 2 are drying, I'm going to sand down just a little bit the larger block. This is just to distress it a little bit and really make all the texture pop. I'm going to iron just a little bit this beautiful fabric. This is from last year's fall stash from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut 2 pieces. They're about 2 inches thick, give or take. This is what we're going to use to cover and place on top of those 2 blocks where we added the Mod Podge. So the Mod Podge is dry and we're going to place the fabric. Now normally I would say use some parchment paper, but for with this one, it didn't really need it. It was a small piece and it worked really well. The Mod Podge was not seeping through. Look how good that attaches. Isn't that beautiful? So basically, again, just place it on top of the dry Mod Podge and then use a little mini iron or your regular iron. It's fine. I do have one of similar mini iron in my Amazon store, which is linked below if you want to check it out. There it is. It's nicely attached, not going anywhere. All right, so now we're going to cut off the excess fabric from the sides, and we're just going to cut off with my scissors as well as my X-Acto knife. And now let's put everything together. We're going to hot glue the 2 pieces right in front of the larger block, leaving about equal space in between and on the sides, just like that. And then we're going to add one of these wooden stems from Dollar Tree and place it on top. We're creating what will look like a little pumpkin. We're going to use a raffia and we're just going to wrap it around my 3 fingers, tie it in the center, and then fluff it up just a little bit. We're going to hot glue it right there to the base of the stem. And then I'm going to add some greenery because it just feels like it needs something, a pop of color, texture. So I'm going to add one there in the middle and one towards the top, a smaller one. And then we're going to add a couple of blocks to the bottom. This is so that we can stand the pumpkin and it's not going to wobble and fall on us. But look how adorable this is. I love the colors, the design. Love how easy it was. How fun. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. We want to do, of course, is remove that tag. A little heat from my heat tool works. Pull it off and then you want to clean it really, really well. Sometimes a lot of dust or smudges settle on these bottles. Dollar Tree carries vinyl, I'm sure you know by now, and their selection of colors are beautiful. I'm going to take a golden glittery one as well as an orange and yellow one. I am going to cut a piece from each and then I am going to use my shape hole puncher in the circle shape. I got this set at Amazon and I love using them. I use them all the time. So I'm just going to punch several of these in each color. I did have a little too many of them of each, but that's okay. I'd rather have more than enough. So I'm going to start with the yellow ones, but of course you can choose whatever color you start with. And I'm just going to start placing them here and there to where it kind of makes sense. And then I'm going to move on to the orange and then the glittery golden one. I think this is looking so cute, and what an easy project you can do This would be so fun to do with your girlfriends, and really any color scheme would be great. We're going to keep it simple. We're just going to add some jute string on the top thread, although you can leave it like this. You can add florals. You can add whatever you want to this. I decided to keep it again on the simple side. Now you can style it however many ways you want because it is fall themed. I am going to add some of these florals from Walmart. I think they look great with the color. Or you can keep it simple and just add one single flower, which is what I did. Love the way this one turned out. It's one of my favorites, but let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another bottle, of course, remove that sticker. Now, if you have a little bit left over that is just being a little stubborn and it leaves a little sticky residue, Dollar Tree has these Goo Gone little containers, and it's just wipe it off really well. And then we just want to wipe the whole thing, of course, removing the oil from the Goo Gone and any smudges and dust. Taking some masking tape from Dollar Tree, we're going to just place it right down, kind of like in the middle, give or take. You can use painter's tape if you have that as well. I didn't have any. So I'm going to use this Waverly chalk pen in the dust colors, a beautiful soft blue. And I'm just going to start planing the top portion. Now the key to getting no bleed for me is to add very little paint on your brush and just do kind of like a dry brush technique. And just add several coats as needed. Of course, you just want to make sure that you do it very lightly so it doesn't pull the previous coat. And this is what it's looking like. Now because this is a glass surface, I do want to seal that chalk paint. So I'm just going to cover the bottom portion with some paper, tape it in place, and then we're going to bring it outside and just spray it with this top coat. It's clear, it's a little glossy, and it's perfect. There it is. Nice and dry, looking so pretty. Of course, my favorite part is removing the tape. Am I the only one? I just love that, especially when you have a crisp line. Doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's so special. All right, so we are ready to apply some decals here. Now, these window clings, Dollar Tree brings every single season, at least in my Dollar Tree, and they have these fall ones, so beautiful. I had this one left over from last year, and I'm going to use this bottom part here. It really complements the paint color very nicely, and we're just going to place it right there in the center towards the bottom of the clear portion. Now, if you see a little bit of bubbles, again, this is a cling, not a sticker. Remove it, place it back on. You can also use a towel and just kind of press on it softly, and it'll remove the bubbles for you. You can add whatever you want to this. Of course, it's your design. For me, I wanted to keep it very neutral, so I'm going to take some of this raffia and I'm going to wrap it around my fingers just a few times to create a very simple bow, tie it in the center, and this is what we're going to tie around the neck of the wine bottle. Now, again, you can use other ribbon, you can use florals, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to just fluff it up just a little bit and place it right there in the center. Now, I'm not going to place any frills on this one because, again, I wanted to keep it on the simple side. But you can use florals, you can use real flowers, you can use faux ones, whatever you want. I love these colors. These are great for fall. It has more of a neutral tones. But that window cling is the star of the show. Let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this print that I made using my Canva, and I just printed it on my printer, and I'm going to cut off a little piece of this pink vinyl from Dollar Tree. We're going to tape it to the surface because it was quite curled, and then we're going to place some carbon paper in between, and we're just going to trace the outside of the leaves. We'd made it into 2 different sizes, but again, you can do whatever you want. I do have a copy of these same printouts in the description box, just a link that you can go in and download and print as you want. So check it out if you want to. All right, so once they were traced, I'm just going to cut them off, and then we're going to use them as stickers. Just peel off the back and place them in different areas of the wine bottle. Of course, we got to remove this sticker. And then once removed, we want to, of course, wipe it really well to make sure that the vinyl stickers really stick well. We're going to attach this last one here, and look how cute it already looks. Now, if you pick colors that are fall themed, wouldn't they be so cute just the way it is? All right, this frosted glass spray is from Rust-Oleum, and I am just going to take it outside and spray it just once, although you can do multiple coats if you want. I wanted it to be frosted, but not too much. So this is what it looks looking like when it is dry. And then of course we just remove the vinyl and reveal, and it's going to be nice and subtle, but so, so beautiful. Love the way this is looking, and I think you know where we're going with this. Now these fairy lights I do get on Amazon, and I do have them on my Amazon store, which is also linked down below in the description box. We're just going to start opening them up and then just placing them. Because it is wired, they don't fall all the way down to the bottom, which is great. We're just going to place them all the way in and leave the battery pack hanging all the way in the back. So pick which side you want it to be the front. I'm going to use alien tape to attach the battery pack, although you can use hot glue, but sometimes it does come off. So using alien tape really works well. So I'm going to do the battery pack first, and then just take another small little piece and put it on the neck. And then this is just what's going to hold that wire nice and snug. We're going to wrap the top using some of this burlap ribbon, and we're just going to attach it with hot glue. And then we are going to layer several things, several ribbons. One is going to have more of this buffalo check style, and we're just going to place it kind of like fold it in half, place it in the center, and then a yellow one right on top of that one. And I know I say this a lot, but really you can add whatever you want at this point. You can leave it like this. I decided to add this small little pick and a leaf, keeping it simple. Not only does it look fantastic during the daytime, but at night it has this beautiful glow. Absolutely stunning. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another bottle, of course, remove the sticker, and wipe it really, really well. Now, I am going to do something very kind of different with this one. I'm going to take this fabric from Dollar Tree. These are from their fall selection from last year's stash. I'm going to open it up and cut it into 4 sides. That's it. Just cut it into 4s. Then I'm going to take a dowel, and I'm just going to wrap it right there, just like you see, right down the middle of each fabric, and place it right inside the bottle. Once again, we're just going to place it in the middle and then place it. I tried doing it with the whole fabric. It didn't work. It bunched up. It just didn't work. If you cut it into 4 pieces, it works really, really well. Then we're going to place the last one. We just want to ensure that the front of the fabric, it's what's showing on the outside of the bottle, just like that. For this one, we're going to do the same thing as earlier. We're going to wrap the neck of the bottle using some burlap ribbon. We're going to add it with some hot glue, wrap it around. We're not going to layer this one. We're going to keep it quite like this, but we are going to do something very special and different. Once I had this attached, I cut off the excess, and then we're going to take a neutral color ribbon. It's a little bit on the thinner side, and we're going to hot glue it on the back at an angle. And then we're going to wrap it around the front of the bottle like a beauty queen satchel. You know what I'm talking about? And we're going to attach it towards the other side with a little hot glue. Cut off the excess. This is going to give us a surface where we can then hot glue florals, although it looks gorgeous like this. We're going to start adding some leaves and some flowers and some pigs. Again, add whatever you want. And as I'm adding this last little pig, I think this one is one of my favorites. I love the design of the florals going from one side to the other. The fabric just next, just beautiful. I love the blue tones. Let me know what you think of this one. Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to introduce you to my miter shears. This is a great tool to have when you are using these blocks because it does cut through them very easily. That being said, for some reason, I feel like they cut better in the lighter tone ones than the darker ones. I don't know why. Let me know if this happens to you if you use miter shears with them. All right, so we cut off about a third of one of the blocks, and we're just going to hot glue it in the center and then hot glue 2 blocks on each side of it to have a total of 5 blocks, and then the middle one cut off. Then we're going to start hot gluing 2 sets of 4 blocks, and then 2 sets of 3 blocks, and then 2 sets of 2 blocks, and then just have 2 little blocks by themselves. So here's what you should have. The 5 piece with the smaller one in the middle. You should have 2 pieces that are 4 blocks each, 2 pieces with 3 blocks, 2 pieces with 2 blocks, and then the 2 pieces by themselves. And we're going to put everything together. We're going to hot glue the 4 piece in front of the 5 piece and 1 on the back, just like that. And we're going to repeat this with the one with the 3 block and the 2 block and the 1 block. We're creating little tiny pumpkins. These are 3D, so cute. I cannot wait for you to see these. All right, so now that we have one, I made 2 and they look just like this. Don't worry about the hole in the middle. We'll take care of that. All right, so for the first one, we're painting that beautiful moss color once again by Waverly. Now, here's why, my friends, I love Waverly chalk pen and chalk pen in general. The Waverly was just took 1 coat. The other one is supposed to be chalk paint. I got it on Amazon. It really isn't. It just didn't have great coverage, so I had to add 2 coats, and it's still not full coverage. But it's okay. They dried beautifully. I'm going to add 1 more black in the darker tone right there in the center after adding a little bit of hot glue right there in the middle. You can pound it in if you need to. And then we're going to add a couple of leaves again, just for color and texture and design. And then we're going to add the same thing on the other one, and then smaller ones, smaller little tiny picks, just for layered texture. And I think these are gorgeous. Oh my word, you can do multiple of these. You can make white ones, blue ones, whatever you want. But I would love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this framed board from Dollar Tree. It does have a metallic center, and I am going to tape off the edges because we are going to paint it here in just a bit. Then I'm going to line the entire edge using the blocks. This is to create a thicker, textured, kind of planked look. And it doesn't matter what color to use. Again, we're going to paint it. You can use your miter shears if you need to fit smaller pieces right inside. Once completely covered, we're just going to paint it. And again, I'm going to stick with the same color just to create a cute little vignette with the same color scheme. But again, you can use whatever color design you want. Once done covering it and painting it, I'm just going to remove the tape before it dries and then set it to the side. And it does not take long to dry at all. Once dry, we are going to distress it just a little bit. You can skip this part, of course. This is always optional. I just like to kind of give it a little bit of dimension and a little bit of distress. All right, so dust it really well. Now we're going to bring in these Dollar Tree window clings. I have some leftover from last year's stash. They have great designs and they're beautiful for crafting. So fun. I'm going to use this pumpkin because it complements the color beautifully. And then I'm going to just line around the edge with this nautical rope from Dollar Tree using hot glue. Now the window cling does stick to the metal very nicely, but it does not stick permanently and strong. Now it'll hold if you just want to display the frame, but if you're going to gift this, sell this, whatever you want, make sure you spray the back, Mod Podge the pumpkin, whatever you need. All right, after the rope was attached, I added a little piece of foam right there to the left corner and added some florals to add texture and pop of that beautiful fall orange color. Love the way this one turned out. It's such an easy project. Let me know what you think. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take some foam board. I always have these on hand for crafting. It's so fun. I'm going to take this little piece and I'm going to use this bowl to trace it. You can use whatever size you want. This is just what I had, and I wanted to make something kind of like on the smaller side. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut it off. This is a very sharp X-Acto knife and it works so good. I'm going to spray the top with adhesive spray and then cover it with this beautiful bluish tone design craft paper, and then cut off the excess again with my X-Acto knife. Once trimmed, I'm going to use that piece, and then I'm going to trace another piece on the foam board because I do need it to be a little thicker and not as thin. Do your very best to stay within the circle, but please know that it is not necessary to have a perfect circle. I trimmed off some edges to make sure they both have the same style and size, and now we're going to start hot gluing blocks all around the edge. Now I am alternating the colors in light and dark, but you can use all dark, you can use all light, whatever you want. You can also paint them if you want. Then I'm going to layer another one on top of it, just hot gluing ever so lightly, about 1/4 of an inch inside of the edge. Now we're going to add some florals. This is a beautiful feathery-like peak from Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to add some vibrant oranges and then some blue ones to kind of pull from that blue color in the center. These are all from Dollar Tree. And then we're going to hide the stems with one leaf right there. You can also add a bow if you want, whatever you want. I'm going to add a piece of rope just to the back a little bit with hot glue as well as masking tape. This is so that we can hang the piece. It's not a heavy piece, but it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, all the textures, all the colors, beautiful style, and you can do whatever color scheme you want. What do you think? Let me know what you think of this one. All right, we're going to start with one of their calendars. By now, you know that I love crafting with their calendars. They have great designs for every season. I'm going to take this Happy Harvest one and I'm going to cut out the pumpkin. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, but of course you can use your scissors if you'd like. Once I had it cut, I'm going to use the new technique that you've probably seen me using and are probably tired of hearing about it. I'm going to put some Mod Podge on the back of it and I'm going to put it to the side to let it dry. It's about a light to medium coat. While that's dry, I'm going to take some of this greenery and I'm going to start making a swag. I'm just going to start adding greenery and florals and tie it in the center with some jute string. Alright, so the plate we are using for this craft is this beautiful navy blue one. Gorgeous. It's actually from their summer collection, but it's perfect for fall decor. I love the finish that it already has, but I do want to distress it a little bit, but of course, you can skip this part if you want. I'm going to use the light grit on my sanding block, and I'm just going to do the edge back and forth, keeping the same direction, and then I'm going to wipe it really, really well. This is going to make all those ridges and edges really pop. Once the Mod Podge was dry, I realized that the pumpkin was a little too wide. So I'm just going to trim it using my scissors. Now remember, the Mod Podge is fully dry. Now I'm going to take my little mini iron and I'm going to iron it on. This is a great technique, but I hadn't used it on a plastic plate and I was a little nervous. I'm going to put parchment paper right on top and I'm just going to start ironing it, and it actually attached beautifully. Boy, did this work. Now the little edges was still a little bit over the little edge, so I just used a little tip from the iron and it attached so beautiful. Now when it was dry, the pumpkin actually distressed a little bit on the bottom, but it's okay, it worked out. I'm going to attach the little swag on the top with some hot glue, and then I'm going to add one of these leather pumpkins from Dollar Tree. They have a little clip, but I'm going to remove that, add hot glue, and add it right there. They also have these little acorns that I really loved. They're foam, and I'm just going to add a little hot glue and add it right there next to the pumpkin just for added texture and design. And I love, love, love this plate. You can put it on a picture holder or a plate holder. Love the way it turned out, but let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take this beautiful orange ceramic plate. It's a dessert kind of type of plate. I'm going to take one of these window clings. Now, you know I love using these as well for crafting, and I have a ton left over from last year's season. This autumn one is gorgeous, and I'm just going to place it right there because the plate has this very shiny finish to it. It attaches so good. It's probably one of the best crafts with these clings. You can't even tell that the cling is there. All right, moving on. I'm just excited. All right, so I want to take one of these wooden stems from Dollar Tree. Now, it has a lot of imperfections and I love it. So I'm going to leave it just like this and attach a popsicle stick to the back. Reinforce it really good with hot glue. And then we're going to cut off the excess because we want to attach it and kind of give it a pumpkin look. The plate is orange. You can't blame me for making it a pumpkin, but of course you can skip the stem portion if you want. Once attached, again, I'm going to reinforce it just a little bit with the hot glue. And then we're just going to start making little bows. Now this is raffia, but of course you can use ribbon, jute string, whatever you have on hand is fine. I'm going to wrap it around my fingers a few times, tie it in the center with some jute string, remove the excess, and then we're just going to hot glue it underneath the stem, just right there. I'm going to layer another ribbon, and I'm going to use this pumpkin ribbon from Dollar Tree. It's a thin one. I'm going to make a very simple bow, tie it in the center again with jute string, and then hot glue it right there in the center on top of the other bow. And we're going to add one more of those little acorns right there. Now again, you can display this on one of those picture holders or a plate holder, but I love, 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 love the way this one turned out. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to use my Cricut Joy Extra. Now, I know that Cricuts can be a little expensive and not everybody has them, and I understand that. But if you're looking for an expensive machine, the Joy Extra is really good. So I have a link in the description box. All right, this is the plate we're using. Love the design. I love that it has actually texture just like wood. So we're going to dust it really well. And then after I had weeded out all the excess vinyl, I'm just going to attach letter by letter the phrase "Hello Fall" right onto the center of the plate, and I'm just going to do it like stickers. I'm going to lightly place them, that way I can move them if I need to. Once I have them in a place where I want them, I'm just going to start pressing them with my fingers. I'm going to bring my drill and a drill bit. I'm just going to start drilling holes kind of like around the "Hello Fall" decal, and I did enough to fit these fairy lights. Not all the fairy lights are going to fit, but I did end up drilling even more holes and adding one more set of fairy lights because I wanted to have more lights, but you can use only one if you want. I'm just going to fold the wire really close to each little light bulb, and we're just going to place them right inside the hole. Now, as you can tell, not all the lights are being used, and that's okay, but I am going to drill more holes because I do want more. And I'm going to use masking tape to hold it in place, and that way it's not going to slip and slide and come out of the hole. Now I'm going to keep doing this until all the holes are filled. I attached the battery pack to the plate using hot glue as well. I cannot wait to show you how this looks. All right, so we're going to take a piece of foam. This is from Dollar Tree. We're going to hot glue it to the bottom of the plate, and we're just going to start adding florals. The florals are really going to complement the Hello Fall very nicely, and I'm going to hot glue and keep adding as needed. I'm going to add these yellow ones that I think truly brought everything together. Look how gorgeous this is. And not only does it look great during the day, but at night it has such a beautiful glow. Love, love, love the way this one turned out. But let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this clear plate. It looks like glass, but it's actually clear plastic. I'm going to carefully remove the sticker from the back. I have my heating tool in a lower setting so it doesn't melt the plate. I'm going to dust it really well. We're going to use another one of those clings because I just think it just looks gorgeous. This one says Happy Thanksgiving, and I know we're far away from Thanksgiving, but I just want to give you the idea and the thought that you can use these clings in such fun ways with these plates. I'm going to center it and then start removing any bubbles. You can use your fingers. I also love using a towel because it's soft enough and it just glides through and it removes those bubbles really, really good. We're going to keep this one really simple, and we're going to make some faux knots. You've seen me do this before. Just make a very tight knot, remove the rope from the top as well as the bottom, and then hot glue it. I'm going to do 2 of them, and I'm going to hot glue them kind of separated. Usually I place them towards the top. This time I want to put them a little towards the top, but more towards the sides. Now, because the plate is clear, I cannot add hot glue because you'll be able to see it from the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. I'm just going to add hot glue exactly behind each knot. And I'm just going to place the rope right there. And it's going to make it look like it's hanging from the knots, but of course it's not. Same thing on the other side. Now, usually I use masking tape on top of the rope so that it doesn't fray. But this time I don't want that tape showing. So I'm just going to add hot glue in between the bristles. And I'm going to do that until it hardens. And then I'll do it on both sides, and that's it. What an easy craft. Of course, you can use florals, you can use greenery, whatever you want. But I love the simplicity. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a beautiful, elegant centerpiece with this golden plate. Now I'm going to use 2 full candles. These are battery operated, and I do get them on Amazon, and I do have them on my Amazon store, which is linked below. I'm going to use some pumpkins from Dollar Tree as well as this foam mushroom. And then we're just going to start adding leaves and greenery and just florals and just whatever I feel fit. This is where you can have so much fun. You can also add some of those fairy lights from earlier and just kind of like weave them around all the decorations. it would look gorgeous. Now, these battery operated candles do have a little remote control, and you can set them to light or candle setting where they flicker. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Love the colors, and it's such an easy way to do a centerpiece. But what do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. And what's so fun is that you can remove the little plastic items from it so easily. All you have to do is peel them off, and now you have a nice smooth wooden piece you can use for crafting. So fun. We're also going to be using this miter saw that I do get. It's like a miter box, and you get it on Amazon, and I do have it on my Amazon store. It makes 90-degree cuts and angled cuts. It comes with a saw. It comes with a place where you can actually screw it into a wooden surface, and it also has this ledge right here. It's like a little lip, and what you do is you can put it on the side of the table just like this, and when you're sawing, it holds it nice and steady. All right, so for the first DIY craft, we are going to take this frame from Dollar Tree. They have tons of these. I decided to take an 8x10, but you can use, of course, whatever size you want. I'm going to remove everything from it, including the little tabs, because we're not going to need them. This is going to be the easiest craft yet, I promise you. We're going to take one of the rulers. We're just going to make a little mark where we need to cut using the miter box. I'm going to do 2 at a time because it cuts really well, and you just take your time and cut very carefully. I'm going to start in the center and start hot gluing each ruler to create a planked look. All right, so now we're going to adhere that last one, and of course you can paint this as you want. You can also stain the rulers if you want a darker stain, but I'm going to leave mine in that natural wood tone. I'm also going to take these wooden blocks and wooden beads, and I'm just going to stack them one on each, and we're just going to do hot glue because it's just going to be for decorative purposes, of course. I'm not going to put anything heavy on this decorative tray, and I'm just going to then hot glue one little leg on each corner. Hot glue goes a long way, but again, this is not meant for anything heavy, anything crazy, basically just decorative. Look how cute it looks with these pumpkins, and you can use it year round. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take 5 rulers. Of course, we want to remove the plastic little strips from them. And then we are going to line up 4 of them right next to each other with the beveled part down. Then we are going to take the other one and we're just going to place it towards the top, maybe about 1/3 from the top, tilted, and mark where we need to cut. Just leaving about maybe 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And then we're also going to trace where I actually placed it. We're going to take the miter box, we're going to make the cut, and then we're going to paint everything. So this is going to go black. This is Waverly chalk pen in the ink. And then we're going to also do the top portion in the black. We're just going to go ever so lightly over that first line I traced. And then the bottom is going to go orange because this is going to be a cute little decorative jack-o'-lantern. Wait until you see how adorable. So I'm just going to use this chalk pen. Now I got this chalk pen from Amazon. It's not really chalk pen. I don't know why they call it chalk pen, but it's okay. All right, so now we're going to take this printout of a jack-o'-lantern face that I did print on my computer. And basically all you have to do is cut off the face. Now, I do have this exact printout, this link to this face on my description box. If you go down into the description box, there's going to be a link. All you have to do is just click on it and then print it right off of it. All right, so now we're going to line everything up since everything's dry. And we're going to attach the little tilted hat portion, touch up the paint as needed, and then attach with hot glue another little piece to the back just for stability and so that the rulers are not, bouncing around. All right, we're going to now attach the face using Mod Podge, and we're just going to do the mouth, the eyes, and then the nose. And this is what it's looking like. You can leave it like this and it's already looking so cute. All right, we're going to add some embellishments. We're going to take some raffia. We're going to cover up those holes and we're just going to hot glue 2 strips on the top going across, cutting off the excess. That way it's going to cover it up and just add a little bit extra level of character and design. We're going to add 1 more strip right there on the top of the hat, and then we're just going to add it again and cut off the excess. Again, you can leave it like this if you want, but we're going to keep adding a few little things. We're going to add a couple of these little leaves from Dollar Tree. They have all their fall foliage picks and decorative florals out now, at least at my Dollar Tree, and they are gorgeous. We're going to add a couple extra little things right there on top. I'm going to wrap around 4 of my fingers some raffia, tie it in the center, fluff it up, and we're going to hot glue this to the bottom. It'll be a cute little bow or bow tie, but look how cute this is. Oh my word. This is probably one of my favorites. I love the design, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take 3 of the rulers. Again, remove the plastic strips from them. And then we are going to just stack them right next to each other, just like we did earlier. The beveled of part of the ruler, so the front part of the ruler is going to be towards the front. And we're going to take some popsicle sticks and we're just going to hot glue them. And then that way we are going to have a nice sturdy piece. You can do as many or as little as you want, as long as it doesn't go anywhere. Like this one is nice and sturdy. All right, now we are going to paint this piece in the sandstone Waverly chalk pen. It's nice and neutral. I love using neutrals for fall as well. And then we're just going to do 1 coat, put it to the side to dry. This little piece was left over from another project. We're going to sand down one of the sides to make sure there's no splinters. We're going to dust it really, really well. And then we're going to stain it. We're going to use the Waverly Antiquing Wax and a wet wipe to stain it. And just going to add a little bit to one end and then just add it, removing the excess as well as staining all at the same time. And then, of course, we want to set it to the side and let it fully dry. And it dries pretty quickly. Dollar Tree has these window clings for every season and holiday, and I love using them. I still have some left over from last fall season, and I'm going to use this one here in the center. I just think it matches the design and color perfectly. I'm going to Mod Podge it right there on the bottom left corner. I'm going to do little by little because I do want to keep that beveled look. So if I go from one side to the other, and I can just kind of fold and dent with my fingers as I attach it, it looks really nice. And then I'm going to add 1 coat of Mod Podge all over the piece so that everything matches, because the Mod Podge did leave a little sheen, so we want to make sure that everything matches. There it is, nice and dry. We're going to flip it over and we're just going to attach the little stem right on top. It's all dry now and perfect. And now we're going to add some embellishments. This little glittery leaf is from Dollar Tree. It has a little clip in the back. We're going to remove that and we're going to use hot glue to attach it. Just make sure you hold it down until it hardens, because it is a little kind of like plastic, hard plastic, so you just want to hold it down until it hardens. We're going to add 1 flower right there in the center towards the top, and then we're going to add some of this wired garland from Dollar Tree, again from last year's stash. We're going to wrap it around my finger, creating a spring, and we're going to add 2 of them, one towards the right side and then another one towards the left side facing down, and this is going to add just more texture. And I love, love, love the way this one turned out. This is such a great piece. You can make multiple of them. You can make 4 and add FALL, whatever you want. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with one of these flat canvases you can find at Dollar Tree. They're 11 by 16, and these are great for crafting. So inexpensive. I'm going to remove the plastic from it, of course, and then we are going to leave it just as is. We're not even going to paint it, although you can, depending on your design. We're going to take this fall-themed plaid ribbon. We're going to cut 2 pieces, and we're going to attach it to one to the bottom and one to the top. We're just going to attach, not the whole thing, just about maybe 2/3 of it, and then we're going to wrap it around towards the back, kind of like a gift, because I just didn't want it to be so thick. Now, you can also cut it in half and glue it. I just thought, let me just do it this way, and it looks cleaner. So I'm just going to attach it with hot glue, and of course, I did the same exact thing on the top to match the bottom. And when it's all said and done, this is what it should look like. How cute. All right, so now we are going to take 2 rulers, and we're going to remove, of course, the plastic strips, and we are going to cut them. I'm going to cut this first one in directly in half, so it's going to be about 6 inches long, 2 pieces of them. And now to finalize things, we're going to need 3 pieces that are 6 inches long, 1 that's 2 inches, and 1 that's about 1 inch. We're going to sand down the edges as needed to remove splinters and smooth them out. And then we're going to paint them using the moss color by Waverly. Beautiful color. And we're just going to do 1 coat, as that's all that was needed in all pieces. We're going to set them to the side, and then we're just going to let them dry. All right, so now we're going to attach everything once dry. We're going to start at the end with one piece. We're going to spell the word fall and then the L at the other end. Now I left those holes on these two pieces because I don't mind it. I kind of like things like that actually. So for the A, we're going to replace it with this beautiful flower from Dollar Tree. We're just going to attach it right there next to the F and then attach the final L right there. Now, if you follow me for a while, you know that I love making faux knots to create what it looks like a hanging piece that has knots. So what it is, if you're new here, you just create a knot on a rope, remove the excess from the top and the bottom, and hot glue it on one end. And then you do another one and hot glue it on the other side. So easy. Then you want to do is you want to flip over the piece. You kind of want to eye out where that knot is, add more hot glue, and then add a rope to the back. We're going to do that same thing on the other side, and this is going to make it look like the piece is hanging from the knots, but actually is not. That's why it's called faux knots. We're going to cut up this one, and then we're just going to add masking tape. I love adding masking tape to rope specifically because it prevents it from fraying. And this is what it should look like. Absolutely stunning. Oh my word. Love this one. I love all of them equally. But I love the colors, the design. But let me know what you think of this one. We're going to start with this beautiful pumpkin. It actually has a great design. I love the font. I love the multiple colors. So we're going to do our craft on the back of it and make it a two-sided craft. We're going to remove the sticker, and I thought it would come off, but it was a little stubborn. So using my little heating tool worked really well. All right, we're going to start with the blue faux leather, and this is just a piece that was left over from last year's projects. So I'm going to place a pumpkin on top of it, and using my rotary cutter, I'm going to cut a piece that's going to fit and cover the surface. Now, at first I thought I would Mod Podge it, and you're going to see that it didn't work, but I still want to show you because that way, you learn from my mistakes. All right, and then I thought, well, let me trace it, and then I can cut it and then apply it. I was just trying different things. I changed my mind. After I traced it, I said, no, let's just iron it. So I let the Mod Podge dry, and it did not work. It works on everything I have tried, from paper to ribbon to fabric. It didn't work. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my adhesive spray by Gorilla. I spray the surface and then placed it right on top. And it worked really good. Now I'm going to cut off the excess using my X-Acto knife. But I have found that sanding down the edges, even with the faux leather, really works very well because it just smooths out the edges and just makes it very flush to the surface, to that edge. So I'm just going to sand it down using my sanding block, and this is one I just get at Dollar Tree. Now you're going to see here, the edge is nice and smooth, and it doesn't come off. I love it. All right, moving on. So now that we have the blue already attached, we're going to use a white faux leather, and we're just going to place it right in the center. Now this is going to be about 2 inches from each side, give or take. And then I'm going to trace one side and round it off, fold it, and then cut them both at the same time so they're both about the same shape. And then we're going to do the same exact thing. We're just going to spray the back of the faux leather with the adhesive spray and then place it right on top. Now we do have to trim the bottom and the top, and again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut it off with the X-Acto knife and then sand it down for a smooth finish. Now I thought I would add some stitching like design, so I'm going to use a black thin marker for the white faux leather, and then I'm going to use a white marker for the blue leather. Now I am going to cut some of this burlap ribbon because I do want to Mod Podge that right there on the top on the stem. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Mod Podge, spread it out, and then we're going to place the Mod Podge underneath a fan to dry. And then once dry, we're going to add the ribbon and then just iron it with some parchment paper, and it really attached. So it did work for this, but again, it didn't work for the faux leather, and that's okay. We're going to cut off the excess with the X-Acto knife and my scissors just to make it as close as possible to the edge. And then, of course, now you can add whatever you want to the pumpkin. You can make it where you're just adding a decal. You can leave it just like this. You can add ribbon. I decided to add a leaf and a flower and these little wired garlands from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to wrap it around my finger and place one on one side, and then the other one, I wrap it around a pencil. That way it's a little bit thinner and place it right there. Now I thought I needed a little bit more texture, so I'm just going to add some of these faux, is it a pampas? I think it's what it's called, feathery like. And then some green leaves just to add a pop of that green color, and I think it brought everything together. Love the way this turned out. Now you can't see the stem. Looking back, I wish I would have made the stem longer. That's something you can do, but let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take 2 pieces of scrap wood. These were in my garage, and I'm just going to remove and smooth out anything from the surface, splinters, roughness. They're scrap wood, so they were not in the best shape. I'm going to dust it really well and wipe it really well to remove all dust. And then we are going to cover the front using some faux leather. I'm going to use the brown tone for this one. It's gorgeous. Now, this is the actual size of what it comes with, so it's pretty large. I'm going to use white for the small wood and then brown for the large one, and use the adhesive spray once again. Apply it. Same thing on the little one. And then we are going to cut off the excess once again using my X-Acto knife as close as possible to the edge. Now for these, I am going to just start using my electric sander. I wanted it to be a little bit more on the rough side. I wanted to look very distressed on the edges, almost frayed. So I'm going to use my electric sander, but you can use your sanding block if that's what you have. I did the same thing on both blocks, and I just love the way it just turned out. And leaving the wood on the side bare, love it. All right, we're going to use a bamboo skewer stick and 3 of these stems from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use my gloves here because we are going to be drilling, and we're going to be drilling on small spaces, so I want to make sure my hands are safe. So I'm going to drill a hole on the top of the large wood piece. Then I'm going to drill a couple of holes, or 1 hole, all the way through on one of the larger wood stems, and then halfway through the other stem, and then halfway through the other stem, and then 1 on top of the small wood piece. Whew, that is a lot. All right, so I added a little bit of glue and then added the skewer stick, cut off the excess, and then added glue so we can attach both stems just like this. I am then going to insert it right there in the hole. That way I know exactly about how much I need to cut off and leave on the stems, and then add hot glue and add the wood stems. So easy, such a great way to have something like a stem, but a little bit more secure than just hot gluing it. Same thing on the other one. I'm going to add a little hot glue, add the skewer stick, and then place it inside of the hole. That way I know exactly how much to cut off, kind of mark with my finger, and then place more hot glue and just attach it. Just like that. Now you can leave it like this if you want. You can add the stitching design on this one as well if you'd like, or you can just add more embellishments, and that's what I'm going to do with this one. Before we do that, I am going to add a couple of these felt pads on the bottom. This is just going to allow them to sit on any surface and not scratch them up. I did cut them up into 4 pieces and attach them. I get those at Dollar Tree. All right, time for some embellishments. We're going to make a little simple bow here using some raffia for the larger wood piece, and we're just going to hot glue it right there to the right side of the pumpkin. And then we're just going to hot glue the leftover pieces just so that they stay nicely put. For the smaller one, we're just going to wrap it around the stem, 2 pieces, wrap it into a simple knot, and then just hot glue those extra pieces all around it, cutting as needed and hot gluing as needed so that it looks nice to the eye and the design of the pumpkin. And once again, you can leave it just like this, but I am going to add some green leaves as well as some florals just to, again, add a little pop of color, a nice, beautiful fall foliage style. And we're just going to keep doing that on the larger one, on the smaller one, of course, smaller on the smaller one so it doesn't take over. But I think these turn out absolutely gorgeous. They complement each other nicely, and I love that faux leather instead of paint. I think it adds so much texture, but let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take the brown piece of faux leather and a plate that is just, I don't know, maybe about 8 inches or so. And we're just going to trace it on the back of the faux leather and then cut it up just like this. And then we are going to take the stitching needle and add some thin jute string and knot one end on the other side, just like that. And we're going to start stitching back and forth all around the edge, maybe leaving about 1/4 of an inch on the edge. It does not matter, but we're just going to do that all the way around until it's fully done. Once it's done, then we are going to pull, and we're just going to pull everything. Just keep pulling so that everything comes together in the middle. And then we're going to start stuffing it with some pillow stuffing. You can also use cotton balls if you have that instead. I always keep a pillow, an inexpensive, cheap pillow in my craft room. So when I'm making these, I can pull from it. All right, so then we're just going to, once it was full, we're just going to pull until everything's tight and then make a very simple knot. We're going to make a cute little faux leather pumpkin. I'm going to add the leaf greens from this greenery pick, and we're just going to hot glue it right there on top, and then add a stem from Dollar Tree right there on top. You can leave it like this again, or you can keep adding. So I'm going to add a couple small little flowers as well as a small little greenery pick, and I think this one is absolutely adorable. You can make these as large as you want, as small as you want. Love the way this turned out, but I'd love to know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this pumpkin wood blank from Dollar Tree, and we're going to remove everything from it, and we're going to paint it white. I love white, but of course you can use any color you want. One coat was sufficient because I am using Waverly chalk paint and it's my favorite. Put it to the side, let it dry. Now we're going to use this marker. It's just a brown tone, and we're just going to line the edge. I'm going to line the edge. Now if at any point you kind of mess up, just fill it in just like I did there, okay? And then I'm just going to add several other areas where I just want to add a little bit more darker, almost like it's chipped. So we're just going to distress it, line it, add dimension to it. And you can do this with paint if you want as well. Now we're going to take these Dollar Tree letters, and we're going to spell the word fall, and we're going to place them on top of brown faux leather. Once attached, we're going to cut off the excess leather from around the letters. And then once I have them nice and trimmed and cut, using my X-Acto knife and my scissors, we're going to remove each letter, revealing each letter but in the faux leather. I am now going to place them in the center, going kind of vertically, and I'm just going to attach them with hot glue. So easy. You can do it however you want. You can use whatever color you want, of course. And you can even use the black letters. You don't have to do it in the faux leather, but I thought the faux leather added a nice touch of texture and color. All right, we're going to add a simple bow here using this ribbon from Dollar Tree. Tie it in the center with jute string and hot glue it to the top. We're going to add green leaves on each side and just keep adding some embellishments and a nice, beautiful sunflower in the center. But of course, this is optional. You can add whatever design you want. Now, I want this pumpkin to be able to stand, so I'm going to add a few of these tumbling tower blocks. These are the Jenga style blocks from Dollar Tree on the back. I added 4 of them. That way we can lean it in and just beautiful. Oh my word. I love the white pumpkin and I love the pops of color, but let me know what you think of this one. I have all of these left over from last year's stash, and I'm going to take one of these wired pumpkin wreath forms, and we're going to use it in a very different way. We're going to start placing these ribbon all over the wreath form one at a time, starting at the bottom and work our way up. Now I'm going to speed it up quite a bit here for you because it did take a little long, but it's so satisfying and it's so enjoyable to do. I'm going to hot glue as needed where it needs it, and then on each end I'm just going to hot glue it, sometimes even curl it just a little bit to make sure it looks nice and neat. And then we're just going to keep stacking all the ribbons one on top of each other. I'm going to try to create a pattern. Now all of these ribbon have different designs and different color schemes, but when you put them together in a nice pattern, it really does work and it looked gorgeous. So again, I'm going to speed it up quite a bit here for you. But the key here, we just want to place one ribbon at a time and then making sure that we're zigzagging in between the wire, skipping the opposite wire from the bottom ribbon. So that way they're all zigzagging in different ways. There you go. So as you can see, I just kept stacking them on top of each other and then using whatever ribbon really complements the other. Now we're going to take some nautical rope from Dollar Tree and we're just going to wrap it around the upper stem. Now this stem is a little short, So what I'm going to do is once I reach the top, I'm going to keep going, making it a little longer as well as making it thinner as it goes higher. That way it's going to finish it up nice and easy, and it's just going to make it just a little longer for me. Then the little tiny end, we're just going to dig in right there in the center and then hot glue as needed. Now it's going to need some florals. Now because the ribbon is so much design, it's colorful, it's bright, it's busy, I'm going to keep the florals in a neutral tone. So we're just going to use this beige sunflower and then some greenery dangling down. These are both from Dollar Tree, and that's it. We're not going to add anything else, although you can if you'd like. It's up to you. But I like the way it looks with the neutral florals and just the greenery. These ribbon are so fun. This is a great way to use your leftover ribbon and just pieces that are left over. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take the stacked pumpkin from last year and we're going to remove all of them from each other. Now, I do like the design. It's cute, but it's not my style. So we're going to remove everything, including the skewer sticks that were holding them together. I'm going to use my blade knife to just whiten the hole on the top, and we're just going to use a screwdriver just to remove some of the foam. I do want that top portion to be nice and wide. I don't have a yellow ribbon, so I'm going to use this leftover fabric that I have, and I'm going to create my own ribbon, hot gluing as needed to create longer strips. These are just going to be about maybe 2-inch, give or take. Once I have them in place, it's just time to start wrapping it around the pumpkin. So I'm going to start one end, wrapping it underneath, bringing it back on top, cutting as needed and hot gluing as needed, making sure that all the ends are nice and tucked in the hole that we made on the top, and continue to do that until the entire pumpkin is covered. And this is what it's looking like. So cute. All right, we're going to do the same exact thing with the medium size one. And this time we're going to use an orange ribbon. I want this pumpkin stack to have a little bit of a candy corn look. So we're going to go with the yellow, orange, and then white. Same thing with this one. We're just going to keep cutting as needed, hot gluing, and really digging it right there in the center so that all the strips are nice and tucked in there. And once again, we're going to do the same thing with the little tiny pumpkin, whiten that hole at the top, and then we're going to use white ribbon on this one, and again, covering the entire thing. So easy and so fun. It really was fun. So now, of course, we got to stack them back on together. So we're just going to use hot glue. And we're going to use the skewer stick that came with it just for that bottom too, because they are a little heavier and larger. For the top one, we're just going to hot glue it in place. It's nice and light. Now I want to use some texture and design, so I'm going to use some of these leaf that I have just left over from other projects. A larger one there on the bottom and then a smaller one on the top. And this is kind of what it looks like, just so that you have a more clear view. But it does missing something, so I'm just going to add some of these picks from Dollar Tree. They add that nice orange tone and then just a simple orange flower right there on the top. Now for the stem, we do want to add something more realistic. So instead of adding the plastic one that it came with, I'm just going to add one of these wooden stems from Dollar Tree. I love it. I can't say it enough. I love it. I love the colors. I love that it has that candy corn look, but I love the style. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this piece of scrap wood. It was in my garage. I didn't even measure it, but if I were to guess, maybe about 7 inches long and about 3.5 inches wide, give or take. I sanded it down just a bit and wiped it really well. Now I'm going to take some vinyl from Dollar Tree and we're just going to make some oval shapes. I'm going to pick the best one and then I'm just going to fold it and cut 2 at the same time. That way they both match in size and design. We're going to take some orange vinyl as well, and we're going to cut off a triangle. We're going to make a cute little scarecrow. This is going to be such a fun craft. You can even do it with your kiddos. I'm going to make the mouth looking like a scarecrow with my permanent marker and then start placing the nose and then the eyes. And it's so easy, just like stickers. And this is what it's looking like. How cute. All right, so now Dollar Tree carries these grass skirts during the summertime, and I had one left over from this summer season, and we're going to use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove it from the packaging, and we are going to cut off 12 inches. Now, because it is tied together in this jute string, I don't want all of them to come apart. So I'm just adding a little dab of hot glue. That way it's going to stick together. I'm going to fold it in half, and then we're going to brush those grass right there just with my fingers. And then we're going to place it on top of the scarecrow. Now we're going to leave it kind of long. We're giving him bangs, or her, a little bangs, and they're going to seem long, but it's going to make sense. I'm going to wrap it through the top to the back, and then we're just going to wrap it around with some jute string and tie it in a very simple knot. We're going to cut off the excess, and then we are going to cut off the excess grass, just like that. We're going to take this beautiful ribbon. We're going to cut off a piece, and this is what we're going to add right there over the jute string. Flip it over, and then we're going to hot glue it in place. And this is when you can get creative. You can use whatever ribbon you want. You can keep it in the neutral tones and whatever you want. It does not matter. All right, so now we're going to flip him right back to the front. Now we're going to start separating, kind of like opening. I want the ends, like the sides, to stay a little long, but we're going to trim the ones in the center so that we can see the eyes and the nose. Same thing in the back. Just kind of keep it however you want. I'm going to add one more of those leaves right there on the left upper corner of the hat. And then we're going to place a sunflower, and it's so simple, so easy. And how fun is this? I can make these forever. Like, this is so much fun. What do you think, though? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take a wired wreath form, and we are going to cut some of this burlap ribbon. We're going to cut 7 inches, and we're going to cut 15 of them, and then we're going to dovetail cut the ends. So I'm just folding them and cutting both ends at the same time. Then we are going to start wrapping the entire wreath form on the second wire from the outside in. So we're just going to wrap it around, fold it like little flags, and then we're just going to hot glue it to itself. And again, I am going to speed it up quite a bit because it's very repetitive, but I do want you to see the entire process. Once I was done with that layer, then I'm going to do the same exact thing, but with orange burlap ribbon. Now this one is from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut it in 7 inches. Then I'm going to fold them, dovetail cut the ends, and then we're going to fold them on that third line, on that third wire. And we're just going to flip it right over the burlap ribbon, hot gluing it to itself. And again, I'm going to speed it up for you. All right, so we're adding the last one here. And now remember, you can use whatever color combination you want. It's up to you. Now for the final row, we are going to cut the ribbon into 4 inches. And we're going to dovetail cut only one end, just like you see me doing here. Once they are cut, then we are going to flip over the wreath form. And then we're going to hot glue them facing inwards. So you want the design to be facing up, but you want the dovetail cut to face the inside of the wreath form. And do that all the way around. They're going to stack over each other just a little bit. Flip it back to the front, and then use something. I used a thin little paintbrush, and we're just going to start flipping them inside out, just so like from the bottom to the top. If you need to cut anywhere where there's a wire, just cut just like you see me doing there and bring them forward. Such an easy and beautiful wreath form. All right, so Dollar Tree carries these type of plates. They're large, they're like chargers, and I have this one. It's a golden tone. I had a leftover from a previous video. I'm just going to hot glue it right smack down in the middle. A lot of hot glue, but it does stick well because it is plastic and pretty lightweight. Be careful, it does get hot. Once it's attached, I am going to drill a hole directly in the center, and this is because I want to add a flower. This sunflower has a kind of thick stem. I just want to stick it right there with some hot glue. And now I'm just going to add greenery and florals all around the sunflower. We are just about done with this one, and I gotta tell you, it's one of my favorites. It is large. It is beautiful. I love that metallic tone in the middle of all these design, colors, and textures. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. We're going to start with a round one, of course, and we're going to remove the paper, and then we're going to take it outside and just spray paint them. I'm going to do a lot of spray paint today because it does work really well on the metal, but you can certainly paint as well. I did a couple of light coats, let it fully dry. For this first one, I'm going to take the ink Waverly chalk pen, and I'm just going to distress it just a bit, adding a few, almost like it looks like it's been chipped through the years. And I'm just going to add here and there where it would naturally wear, and then I am going to let it dry. And then after it's dry, we're going to spray it. I'm just going to do a clear top coat. This is kind of like a glossy one, but you can use whatever you have on hand. It's just that this is metal, so I didn't want it to scratch on me. So if one heavy coat was great, while that dries, I'm going to take this metal Thankful that I got at Target Dollar Spot years ago. I still had it laying around, so I'm going to take it outside, spray paint it with this Rust-Oleum flat black. And then while that's dry, I'm going to take a Dollar Tree fabric. Every season Dollar Tree brings beautiful fabric, and this season is no exception. I'm going to take a piece of this one. Now I didn't measure, but I would say it's about 7 or 8 inches thick, and I'm just going to iron it just a bit to remove all the wrinkles. And then I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while. I'm going to use adhesive spray on the back of the fabric. I'm just going to make just one spray and then bring it onto the center. Start in the middle, work my way outwards. And even on the ridges, on the side, on the edges, it stuck really well. I was very surprised. So anyways, I'm just going to stick it as best as I can, flip it over, and cut off the excess using my X-Acto knife. I'm going to repeat the process with this burlap ribbon from burlapfabric.com, and I'm just going to adhesive spray the back, place it, and then flip it over, and then we're going to cut off the excess. So easy, so quick. All right, so now that the Thankful is nice and dry, I'm just going to hot glue it onto the burlap ribbon, and a little hot glue went a long way. Now we're going to add some embellishments to the top, so we're going to take some burlap ribbon, we're going to make a very simple bow, tie it in the center with jute string, and we're going to do the same exact thing with another ribbon, a orange one. This one's from Dollar Tree. I love that it has that white stitching on the edges. I'm going to dovetail cut the edges, but you can do whatever you want. You can angle cut them if you'd like. Join them together with jute string and then hot glue it to the top. Flip it over. I'm going to add a nice little string here just to make sure that we have something to hang it with. We're going to flip it back to the front. We're just going to add a few extra little embellishments. These greenery in between the bows will add a nice texture and pop of color to complement the fabric. And then this teal blue pumpkin. How stinking cute! I love the way this one turned out. I love them all, but this one has just texture and layering, and I love it. But let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another pizza pan, remove the paper, and we're going to spray it again. But this time we're just going to do half of it. Again, we're going to take it outside and do a couple of coats, light ones. And it's nice and breezy and sunny today, so it dried really quick. Once dry, I'm going to take it inside. Now, I don't have painter's tape. I wish I did. I need to buy some. Masking tape will do for now. I'm just going to tape it halfway and then tape some paper to cover all of the white area and take it back outside and spray paint it. I don't know what happened to my spray. It stopped working. Like, it literally stopped working. Brand new can, I don't know. So we took it outside after it dried, and we're just going to do it by hand. This is Waverly chalk pen in the pumpkin tone, which is beautiful. I'm just going to do a couple of coats to make sure that it's going to be nice and covered. Put it to the side and let it dry. Once dry, remove the paper. Now, it did remove a little bit of the white paint, so I'm just going to dry brush a little bit of white chalk paint just to kind of fill in those little spaces. No big deal. It dried really quick. All right, so these transfers are from Essential Stencil. I had them left over from last year. I'm going to cut off the corn stalk as well as the scarecrow, and we are just going to start placing. And the way you attach these, basically you just want to scrape it on and pull the plastic as you attach. And you'll see it attach. It's so fun. So I added the corn stalk in the center, and then we're going to add the scarecrow on the white portion. I contemplated leaving it as is, but I decided to add a few little leaves that came with the set just around it, just to fill in some of the white spaces. Took it outside. I'm going to spray paint it with that top coat. That way it's going to be nice and sealed. Oh boy, the colors on this one is gorgeous. We're going to flip it over. We're going to add that string here before we add the embellishments. We're going to hot glue and tape for extra security. Flip it back over to the other side, and this time we're going to take several ribbons in different colors that complement the design, and then we're going to dovetail cut the ends. Once I have them dovetail cut, I'm just going to crisscross them, alternating the colors, and tie it in the center with some jute string. Once they were attached, I'm just going to fluff them up just a little bit, separating the strands, and then hot glue it to the other side, just like that. And then I'm going to add this sunflower. It's from Dollar Tree and it has a clip. I am going to remove it, add plenty of glue, and then we're going to center it right there in the center of everything and all of the ribbon. And I love the way this one turned out too. I told you I love them all, but this one has such great colors and it's just screaming fall. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take another pizza pan, remove the paper, and we're going to spray it again, half of it in white. I promise this one's going to be different. A couple of coats and let it dry. Then I taped it and sprayed the other side in a teal blue by Rust-Oleum. Beautiful color. And once everything was dry, removed the paper and sealed everything with the top coat. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, so now we are going to take this stencil from Essential Stencil as well. We're just going to use the Hello Fall right there in the center. And I'm just going to stencil it using Waverly Chalkman in the white and my favorite stenciling brush, which I get on Amazon. And I do have them in my Amazon store if you want to check it out. It is linked down below. I decided to do the Hello on top, and then I kind of placed the fall a little bit more to the left, but it was a little tilted. I'm fine with it, but I wish it was a little straighter. Now, while that dries, I'm going to take this blessed round and I'm just going to cover it up with fabric. This is leftover fabric from last year from Dollar Tree. And we're going to take some pillow stuff in. We're going to stuff it. So I'm just going to hot glue the edges just a little bit, just a portion. We're going to start stuffing it with the pillow stuffing and continue to secure everything around the edges. This is going to allow me to create a 3D plush pumpkin. I also did add staples in the back. I didn't want to forget to tell you that. All right, we're going to use my miter shears and I'm going to cut this stick that came straight from the outdoors. And we're going to use that as the stem, hot gluing it at the top. We're going to take a couple of ribbon, this beautiful plaid one from Dollar Tree and the burlap ribbon from earlier. We're going to make a couple of simple bows, stack them on top of each other, securing it with jute string in the center. And then we are going to cut off the excess ribbon and then hot glue it right there at the bottom of the stem on the fabric so it attaches really well. I'm going to add one cute little pumpkin right there in the center. And this is what we're going to add on the white portion of our round. I'm going to add plenty of hot glue and placing it right there. So fun. Before I forget, we have to flip it over and add some ribbon so that we can hang it. I decided to add colorful ribbon because that way it just adds more color to the entire design. Hot glue and masking tape did the work. We're going to flip it to the other side, and then we're going to take these Dollar Tree fall leaves and we're just going to place them here and there around the design. This is going to make it look like the leaves are falling, and I love the fall season for that. Again, just adding some here and there just to add color and texture, and this one is also gorgeous. I love that we added that 3D plush pumpkin, the colors, the Hello Fall. I love it, but let me know what you think. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another pan. This time it's a cake pan, although it can be used for deep dish pizzas. We're going to take it outside, spray paint it white. We're going to do the front as well as the back. And then, of course, once it's dry, we are going to seal it with the spray paint or the clear one. That way, again, it's not going to scratch up on us. Once dry, we're going to start adding some embellishment. We're going to snug it all up right inside on the bottom portion of it. We're going to add these green leaves, one facing one way and the other. And then we're going to start adding pumpkins and mushrooms and more greenery and leaves and just make it nice and festive. But as I was working on this thing, I said, you know what? I feel like I need something on the top. So I found this beaded, kind of like small little garland, and it has a blessed pumpkin in the center. And I just thought, how cute would it be to be able to add this on top? And I did. So I added hot glue to the back of the blessed portion, and then I added hot glue around the beads on the bottom, and it secured it in place. Now I'm going to add a tiny little bow with some raffia ribbon just to kind of add and hide all that glue at the top, and then hot glue it right there. So easy. All right, so we're going to add those greenery and more leaves here. I thrifted this taper candle holder a while back. It was 99 cents, and I thought it would look gorgeous if I just hot glue this whole piece, and it worked. I could not believe it worked. It looks great, although you can add a hanging piece to the back. I think having it on this base looks absolutely stunning, but let me know what you think of this one. We're going to start with these pumpkin wreath forms. You can get these during the fall season. I'm going to remove everything from it, take them outside, and I'm going to spray them white with my spray paint from Rust-Oleum. I'm going to do the outside as well as the inside. Of course, you can also use any other color you want, like orange or red or green, whatever you want. I'm going to take this wooden plaque from Dollar Tree. They carry these year-round in their crafting aisle with all of their other wood blanks. Love these because they're very versatile and great for crafting. They're a little rough to the touch, so I'm going to sand down the edges and the surfaces and then wipe them really, really well. You can paint it if you want, but I'm going to stain it using the Waverly Antiquing Wax. I'm just going to apply it as well as removing it all at once. Then I'm going to set it down near a fan so that it dries really quickly. Now it's time to attach the pumpkins, and I'm just going to use zip ties from the Dollar Tree. These are the white kind, and I'm going to zip tie it in a few places as long as it's snug together. Then once attached, it's time to attach it to the base. So we're just going to mark with a pencil where we need to drill a few holes so that then we can attach it using some zip ties. Now I misjudged as to whether or not it was going to tilt, and it was. Once it was attached, I did have to drill a couple extra holes with more zip ties to make sure that it's not going to tilt. Now that it's nice and secure, we are going to add foam. This is floor foam from Dollar Tree. I'm going to add a whole bunch of hot glue and stick it one on one side and then the other one on the other side. And this is so that we can create a base so that we can then attach all kinds of beautiful fall foliage flowers. And these are all from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut them and hot glue them and insert them here and there as long as everything is nicely covered. And then we're going to place one of the solar lights right in the center. And of course, you can use any of the solar lights, but I'm going to use this one, and I am going to make sure first that it works. And secondly, I am going to make sure that I am going to leave the clear part, but remove the stake portion. Add plenty of hot glue and stick it right there in the center of everything, and then surround it with more florals until you kind of like what you see. I'm going to temporarily tilt it. I'm going to add some of these felt pads at the bottom. That way it's not going to be bouncy and kind of wiggling because of the zip ties, and it worked really well. I'm going to add a couple of bows to the top of the pumpkin wreaths. This is a burlap ribbon as well as a ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to make simple bows, stack them together, tie them with jute string, and then we're going to tie it around the top portion at the neck of the base of the stem. And then we are going to tie it in the back. And then just going to add a couple of greenery picks right there in the center or in between the bows just to add, again, a touch of texture and color. But look at this beauty. Oh my gosh, wait until you see it at night. I love the way this one turned out, but let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this little jar that I found at the Dollar Tree during the summer season. And we're not going to need the cap, but we are going to wipe it really well because we don't want any dust or smudges. We're going to take some vinyl from Dollar Tree and we're going to freehand what will look like a triangle, then fold it, and we're going to cut two sides at the same time. We're creating a little jack-o'-lantern. You got to see how cute this is. All right, so then to create the mouth, I decided to trace that front portion of the jar. That way I know exactly how wide and long to create the mouth. And then we are going to cut it. And once cut, it's a matter of just attaching it just like stickers onto the front of the jar. I'm going to take it outside and spray paint in this beautiful orange spray paint by Rust-Oleum, and we are going to do a couple of coats and let that dry. Once dry, we're going to remove the vinyl, and I realized that spray paint got behind or inside of the jar, so you can see it. But a little white bead worked really well, although it didn't take the whole thing out, but it's okay. This is another one of those solar lights we used earlier. I'm going to attach it with glue at the top. Now, looking back, I wish I would have taken out the clear portion of it because you can see it through the front, but it's okay. We're going to line and cover the thread of the jar using black ribbon, cut off the excess, and then we're just going to add a nice, beautiful sunflower right there, and then some greenery leaves to the back just to add a little fullness and extra color, but I think it's gorgeous. And at night, it glows so beautifully. Well, let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this home sign from Dollar Tree. It's already very pretty, but we're going to make it fall themed. Remove the ribbon and the string, and we're going to paint the letters in this pumpkin orange by Waverly. At first, I thought I can do it without removing the letters. It was too hard. So I'm going to use my heating tool, remove each letter carefully. Now, this kind of made them a little messy. I guess it just bent, and I just didn't like that, but we're going to make it work. And I thought painting it with a few coats was going to work. It took forever, so I just took them outside and spray painted them again with the orange spray paint. It works out. We're going to take this tiny little wreath form, and we are going to make it fall theme. I get these on Amazon, and I do have them in my Amazon store if you want to check them out. It is always linked down in the description box. So we're going to add some orange leafy greens and just enough to make it very fall theme, but not make it too heavy. Once I had it when I want it, we're going to put it to the side, and quickly we're just going to add some ribbon to the top and the bottom of the sign. We're going to cut this fall themed plaid ribbon from Dollar Tree in half, and then we're just going to place one at the top, wrap it around the sign, and the same thing at the bottom. And now we can attach the wreath form right there to the front with a little hot glue, which goes a long way. We want to be able to hang this sign, so I'm just going to use ribbon instead of rope, and I'm just going to crisscross it at the back, looping it in the top, and I'm going to hot glue it as well as tape it. And that way it's going to be nice and strong hold. All right, so now we're going to flip it over, and this is the solar light we're going to use. It is battery operated as well as solar, and we're just going to turn it on and off. I love that it has that feature, and I'm just going to hot glue it, making sure that I'm not covering the on-off button in the back. So hot glue it, hold it until it hardens, and then it's going to look so cute. Okay, so here are the letters. They look better. They look better when they're spray painted, but when I was painting it, oh my gosh, it was just not looking pretty. All right, we're going to hot glue them right where they need to be, and I think this really brought everything together. They look cute in black, but this orange with the ribbon, with the florals, it just looks stunning. I'd love to know what you think of this one. At night, it has this nice subtle glow, and it lights up the sign, which is exactly what I wanted with the solar light on this one, but let me know what you think. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this little jar. I got this one at Target Dollar Spot years ago, and I'm going to remove the cap. We're not going to need it, and we're going to wipe it really well once again. You know, I love using these window cleans. I love them. They're just so beautiful and so easy to craft with. I have this one left over from last year, and we're going to remove the home portion of it, and we're just going to add it to the front right there. So easy. Now, Dollar Tree has these beautiful acorn and little tiny pumpkins and leaves. They're plastic, kind of see-through, beautiful colors. I'm going to mix them all up together, and I'm going to fill the jar with them. How fun is this? You can also use anything else you want, leaves or whatever you want. This is another one of those solar lights, and we are going to remove everything, making sure that it works, first of all. And then this time we're going to remove the actual plastic and the stake because we can't fit it in. So we're going to do the same thing and hot glue it to the rim of the jar. Now work a little quick because it does harden and cool down really quick. We're going to use yellow, or not yellow, orange ribbon for this one. We're just going to cover that thread, attaching it with hot glue. And then we're just going to add small little tiny flowers on this one, just keeping it simple. A little orange one and a yellow one with a little hot glue. And that's it for this one. Such a beautiful, such an easy craft you can make with friends, your family. Love how it glows at night and kind of goes through all the beads. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Leftover from other projects, and I'm just going to use this beautiful fall design wand and cut strips of 3 inches each, as well as cutting them then in half. So they're about 3 inches by about 6 inches. Did the same thing with blue fabric. This foam pumpkin is from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to use a tool just to kind of make dents in all of those edges from the pumpkin design. I'm not going all the way through. I'm just denting it right now. Then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm actually going to cut halfway through the foam. I'm not cutting all the way in. The pumpkin is hollow. So I'm just going to make dents right on all of those edges and then cut off completely the stem because we are going to be replacing it. I saw this technique on Pinterest recently and I had never tried it before, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try because it looks really fun. I'm going to place one fabric and I'm just going to start inserting it into that slit that I made. Again, it doesn't go all the way through to the inside, just about halfway. And I'm just going to cut and keep pressing and pushing it in as needed with this tool. This tool is one of those weeding tools that you can use when working with vinyl. I did the same thing with the other fabric, and then I'm going to continue to do so, alternating the designs. I'm going to speed it up here for you because it did take a little bit, but that's okay. I really enjoyed the process. And in a little bit, I'm going to tell you about Skillshare, which is today's sponsor. It's coming along so cute. All right, so I'm just inserting here this one, and you can tell that I'm just cutting and inserting and pushing it in, and it just has this great plush look without it being plush. All right, so now for the top and the bottom, I'm just going to use my hot glue tip and just kind of add hot glue and push as needed so they're all joined together. I'm going to add one of these leaves that I have from other projects. I've used these all the time. I love them. And then I'm going to use one of these wooden stems from Dollar Tree and just press it right there, right on top. Then I'm going to add one of these fall leaves and add it right there. And then just a cute little simple flower just right there because the fabric is the star of the show. Love this technique. I'm so glad I tried it. It was actually really easy, but I'd love to know what you think of this one. Next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take this wooden pumpkin blank, and I love that it's so large. This fabric is stunning. The designs, the colors. So I'm going to cut a piece off of it just to make sure that I have enough. Spray the surface with adhesive spray and then just place the fabric right on top. I'm going to flatten it out, let it completely harden and dry, and then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to cut off the excess fabric from the edges as well as the face. I'm going to use a brown marker just to line that inside of the details of the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. This is so that it's not bland and it kind of stands out and just darkens it a little bit. Anyways, I'm using a regular marker, whatever you have. You can also use black if you'd like, or maybe even a deep orange will look very good. All right, so now we are going to take some aluminum foil and I'm just going to fold it and then I'm just going to make that stem a little longer. And aluminum foil works really well because it allows you to then bend and twist in whatever design you want. I made it a little too long at first and I did cut it just a little bit, but again, it's a large pumpkin, so you can do whatever you want. I'm going to take burlap ribbon, I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm just going to wrap it around that stem, hot gluing it in place as needed. So now it's time to add some of these fairy lights. You know I love these. I love these. I'm obsessed with them. I'm going to tape them to the back, and this is so that we can add a nice glow, kind of like what a jack-o'-lantern would look like. And we're just going to use masking tape, and we're going to do it all around, making sure that it's close enough to the openings, but not showing. For the battery pack, I'm just going to tape the excess cord and then hot glue the battery pack right there. All right, so let's add some greenery, although you can leave it like this. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to add some of these fern picks, one facing one way and the other one the other way. And then I'm going to add this bright orange color leaves from Dollar Tree. These are all from Dollar Tree, by the way. And then this beautiful orange sunflower. And then I did add a couple leaves, one to each side, just to add a little fullness and pop of colors. And then we are going to add one more jute string right here in the back. This is so that we can hang it. And I can't wait for you to see it, especially at night. Just wait. It's gorgeous. I love this design. What a fun way to use these wood blanks. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take this beautifully designed fabric. We're just going to iron it just a little bit to remove some of the folds. Now, recently I did a faux leather video and I did this cute little pumpkin. And I'm going to do something similar with the fabric that's actually going to be easier and way more detailed. I took this wood round from Dollar Tree from leftover, I think it was spring, and I'm just going to use it as a guide, trace a circle, and then cut off the excess fabric. Then I'm going to take my stitching needles and I'm going to thread some jute string right through it and tie the other end in a knot. Okay, now the string needs to be long enough to go all around the fabric. All right, so now we're going to thread it in and out through, leaving about maybe a quarter of an inch on the outside of the edge. And we're going to do that all the way to the end until both strings meet. And then we're going to pull just like this. Almost looks like a little shower cap. All right, once you have it somewhat closed, we're going to stuff it up with some pillow stuffing. And then we're going to zip it all the way through. So we're just going to tighten it and then tie it in a simple knot right there. Now, don't cut off the excess string because we're going to use the string to create that pumpkin look. So we're going to thread that needle again, and then we are just going to poke it through the bottom, through the middle, and the top, just like that. And then you want to pull to create that pumpkin side look. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to do this several times so that it has that pumpkin look all around. But don't cut off the excess string because we're going to tie it to each other at the end. How adorable is this looking? Oh my word. Okay, so I tied it. Now you can cut off the excess and this is what it's looking like. How cute. And you can do this any size. You can make massive big ones and use them as pillows for your couch. Think about that for a minute. All right, I use another one of those wooden stumps and just hot glued it in the center. And I'm going to add this beautiful, cute little orange leaf and a foam acorn from Dollar Tree. And look how stunning this looks. It is tiny but mighty. Let me tell you, this is such a cute craft and it's so easy. It will be a fun one to make with kiddos also. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to make some ornaments. Who said ornaments are only for Christmas? I didn't. I have made ornaments for Easter, for Christmas, of course, and I've made several throughout the year. So I'm going to make some fall ones, and we're going to take these wood slices. These are from, I think it was Amazon that I got them. I need to get more because I ran out. I'm going to add a layer of Mod Podge, and I'm going to put them to the side to dry. Then we're going to cut out some of these leftover fabric and just going to make some cuts so that we have enough fabric to cover each wood slice. And then once the Mod Podge was dry, we're going to add the fabric to each wood slice, add some parchment paper, and then iron it on. And I love this technique. If this is new to you or you're new here, a technique that I learned very recently. It attaches paper and fabric and napkins. It is such a good technique, and I just love it because it's so easy. All right, so they are attached. Now I'm just going to use my scissors to cut off the excess. Now you can use an X-Acto knife, but using my scissors on an angle form, kind of see how I'm cutting it. It really cut it close to the edge, and it worked really well. All right, so now we're going to use this weeding tool, and we're just going to poke that hole. The slices already had holes, but we're just going to make sure that the fabric has that hole as well. And then we're going to bring back that stitching needle, and we're going to thread the ribbon that we're going to be using for our ornaments right through each little hole. And then we're going to tie it in a knot close to the wood slice and another knot on the top so we can hang them. How fun are these? And definitely something you can do many of and even sell them. All right, so we're going to add a little embellishments to each. These are all going to look different, but yet complement each other between little flowers and picks and pumpkins and leaves. Whatever you want to add is up to you. Just make sure it's sized appropriately. But look how adorable these look, like a set. I am so happy with the way these turned out. You can hang these on any plant or just laying on console table. But let me know what you think of these. Has great shape and texture, and the size is awesome. I'm going to remove the sticker from the bottom using my heating tool and weeding tool, and I'm going to wipe it really well, including the inside. I'm going to mix paint and Mod Podge. Now, this craft did not turn out the way I thought it would, but I'm going to show you the process. So I wanted this to have more of a frosted orangey look, almost like a see-through, like a stained glass with an orange tone. It did not work. I don't know what I did wrong. But anyways, I'm still going to show you the process. I let it dry. I added one full coat on the inside and faced it directly on the open side towards a fan. I'm going to show you. Anyways, for the lid, I'm going to give it one coat of this Waverly chalk paint in a mint tone. And then I am going to then do a brighter green to give it a little bit more of that brighter tone. Here's what it looks like. And it looks messy, blotchy. I did 2 coats. It did not work. That's okay. We're going to move on. I want to take one of these window clings from Dollar Tree. You know, I love working with these. They come in every season. And I'm going to use this one. And I really thought it looked great. And it did. It actually molded onto the design of the jar, which was perfect. And it covered a lot of those smudges from the inside of the jar. Now I'm going to hot glue a couple of these wood stems on the larger side on top of each other to make a larger, taller stem. And I'm going to use one of these larger green leaves, add a fall leaf right on top. Oh, this is from Dollar Tree, friends. And then one of these little orange berries, and I love the way it turned out afterwards. But you can still see the smudges, and that's okay. You live and learn, and I'm going to figure that one out. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this adorable glass jar. I love how tiny it looks, and you can use it standing up like this or standing on its side, which is perfect if you want to use it for storage in your home. Again, I'm going to remove the sticker from the bottom using my heating tool and wipe it really well. I'm going to take one of these hole punching designs that I got on Amazon. They come in a pack of 6, and I love this little flower one. It kind of looks like a leaf. That's why I grabbed it. And I'm going to take this vinyl from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to start punching a few of them. And then using them like stickers, I'm going to place them all around the jar. Once I have them where I want them, I'm just going to take it outside and spray paint it in this white Rust-Oleum spray paint in a flat tone. A couple of coats did it work, and then I'm going to bring it inside, but I did seal it with a top coat. I forgot to film that portion, but I did seal it to make sure it's not going to scratch off. Once it's dry, I'm going to take pieces of foam. These are from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to hot glue them to the top of the lid. And then we're going to start adding floral picks from Dollar Tree. I'm going to add green ones and orangey ones and just these sunflowers, and just add it, make it nice and full, way bigger than the actual lid, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. All right, isn't this looking beautiful? I love the way it turned out, all those colors. Here's the jar nicely dry, and I'm going to remove all the stickers, revealing the glass on the other side. And we are going to add some fairy lights to this one. We did it, friends. Anyways, I'm going to remove all the stickers like I mentioned. And then the fairy lights that I'm using, I use all the time. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it. They are the battery operated ones. And they have a very thin battery pack. I'm just going to turn them on, use them, and just place them right there. And the battery pack is going to go right inside because it's an easy open jar. But look how stunning this looks. Oh, and wait till you see it at night. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's definitely my favorite from today. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this gorgeous jar. It's so elegant. They have larger ones and also this smaller one. Once again, I'm going to remove the sticker using my heating tool and then wipe the entire jar very, very well, although this one's not going to be painted. I'm going to remove the lid from it and we're going to add some foam to this one as well. We're just going to add a nice piece right there in the center. And we're going to start by covering up with some moss. You can find moss at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to add some embellishments, a floral pick and a foam mushroom and a foam pumpkin and a leaf. I want this to be like a little geranium of just floral designs. And I'm just going to add some of these leftover floral picks from other picks inside the foam items with some hot glue. That way they can stick onto the foam nicely. And the goal here is to add as much as you can without it being too bulky and going out of the side, because we do need that lid or that jar to go right back on it. Once I had everything where I wanted it, I'm going to trim some of the moss because I don't want it to get stuck on the thread. So I thought here that I can actually attach it, but the floral pick was a little too long. So I'm just going to trim the longer parts of it and then place it back on, and it worked really well. Now you can leave it like this. Of course, it looks great. You can also spray paint the lid. I decided to add this plaid fall ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm going to fold it just a little bit so it's more in an appropriate size. And then I'm going to attach it and hot glue it to the bottom around the lid. This jar is gorgeous. This is another one that you can add fairy lights to and it will look beautiful. If you don't want to add too many foam items, you can add faux candles. Possibilities are endless, but let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this adorable little jar, which is perfect for storing maybe cotton balls in your bathroom, but we're going to use it to make a super cute fall craft. Again, I'm going to remove the sticker from the bottom, and then we're going to take one of these hula skirts from the summer season at Dollar Tree. I recently made another little scarecrow using this, and it was so fun. I just figured, let me try another technique. So I'm going to take a piece that was left over from the other project, and I'm going to take some of the strands and just place them right there. I'm not going to get rid of the rope section because we are going to reuse it here in just a bit. We're going to put the lid back on, and then we're going to take some black vinyl from Dollar Tree. We're going to make an oval to create a couple of eyes. I did have to trim it a little bit, but I'm going to cut both eyes at the same time. That way, they're both going to be the same size and shape. Then I'm going to take the orange vinyl, and I'm going to cut a very thin triangle. This is going to be the nose for the scarecrow. I'm going to cut that, and then we're going to place it in the front of the jar, starting with the eyes and then moving on with the nose. I decided to add a nice wiggly mouth. I thought at first I didn't want to add it, but I'm glad I did. I think it needed it. So I'm just going to be nice and thin, and we're just going to place it right there at the bottom. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to take some burlap ribbon, and we're just going to hot glue it around the rim of the lid. We're going to do it all the way around to the back, attach it to itself, and then we're going to scrunch it at the top. And this is what we're going to use to make a cute little hat for our scarecrow. We're going to use the leftover rope and strands that we had from earlier, and we're just going to tie it around in a very simple knot. How adorable is this? You can add whatever you want to the top too, maybe even a floral too. I decided to keep this one nice and simple. I'm going to add a few extra little strands towards the side. That way it looks like all those little strands are coming out of the hat. And then to finalize things, I'm going to take my white marker, and I'm going to just add some details to the eyes, just some highlights to make it look nice and cute. And he's adorable. Oh my gosh, this would be a great craft to do with your kiddos too. I love how simple it was and yet festive. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. With this plaque. It is such a versatile item, and Dollar Tree carries him in different shapes. I'm going to remove the sticker from the back, and we're just going to paint it. Now, sometimes you do want to sand them. This one was actually kind of smooth, but we're just going to give it one coat of Waverly chalk paint in the white, and then once dry, I am going to distress it just a little bit. It does have that beveled edges. And I love distressing that because it causes a nice dimension. But you can skip this part, of course, if you'd like. I'm using my electric sander by Ryobi, but you can use your sanding block if you also have that at home. Wipe it really, really well, and then we're just going to Mod Podge. We're going to keep this one really simple and easy. We're going to use these window clings. You know, I'm a little bit obsessed with them. They have great design, and they're so fun to craft with. This one has a beautiful design. I'm just going to place it right there, and it really stands out beautifully against the white paint. I'm going to remove any bubbles and then just cut off the excess from the top and the bottom and add one more layer of Mod Podge right on top. I want to set it to the side, and then once dry, we're going to use these beads that Dollar Tree carries in their craft aisle. They already come threaded in a string, and they're great for crafting. I had this one left over from a previous project. I'm just going to use the leftover ones and just kind of place the bead on top of the edge of the wood plaque, and then hot glue and tape in the back for secure hold. And then, of course, cut off the excess. Now, you can add whatever else you want to this. Florals, anything else, a ribbon, a bow. But I decided to keep mine like this. It's a great little craft to just hang anywhere in a home. What do you think? Let me know. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take this, well, it's supposed to be a haunted mansion for Halloween. But I'm going to turn it into a church. It's a wood blank that I saw, and I instantly saw a church. So I'm just going to paint it white, but of course, you can use any color you want. You know that. So I'm going to put that to the side, and then I'm going to take these flexible wooden flat dowels. I get these on Amazon. They are made out of bamboo, and I love using these. I do have them in my Amazon store, and my Amazon store is always linked below if you want to check it out. I'm going to stain it using the Antiquing Wax by Waverly. I'm just going to apply it and remove excess as I go. Set them to the side to dry. So here's my church, and I'm just going to add a little bit of distress and dimension to all the edges. So basically, I'm just going to add it in a little chippy, inexpensive brush, and I'm just going to start just stressing those edges. And the reason why I do this, although you can skip it, is because it adds a little dimension to those edges. It just makes it look, I don't know, I just like it, but you can skip it. All right, so I'm going to add it all over the edges as well as around the windows and doors and everywhere, just a little bit, not too much. And then we're just going to start adding the dowels right on top. We're creating what will look like a little roof. So I am going to speed it up quite a bit for you, but basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to mark where I need to cut, make the cut with my wire cutters, sand it down just a little bit so it's smooth to the touch, and then hot gluing it in place, and I'm just going to line all of the roof. How adorable is this looking? You can also do a black roof. I think that'd be so cute for a farmhouse style church. Love it. All right, we're going to use the same bamboo dowels, and we're going to create a little cross for the top, and we're just going to cut and hot glue. That's it. Now, I had some bamboo left over, and I said, why don't we add some little shutters to the windows? Let's do it. So that's what I did, and I am just going to add one on each side of the windows. I didn't do the door, though. All right, so we're going to add the last one here, and it's looking so cute. All right, so we're going to take this marker. This is just a marker that I had. It's brown tone, and I'm going to line the inside of each window and door, just a little, like the top, the bottom. This is so that it's not so white, and it kind of creates dimension within that window or door, especially with the shutters now. You can't see it too well on the camera, but it's there. All right, we're going to add this little tiny grapevine wreath form that I get on Amazon. And I'm just going to add these tiny little flowers because we are going to make it fall theme. But of course, if it's during Christmas, you can make this Christmas theme. I love the possibilities. All right, so we're just going to keep adding the little flowers. Now, I want this church to just be warm and cozy. So I'm going to add lights to the back. I've done this before with other projects, and I think it's going to really look great on this church. So we're just going to tape it around the windows and around the door as best as I can, as long as they're not showing in the front. And that way, when it's lit up at night, it's going to look warm and cozy, like it's all lit up inside of the church. And then so that we can stand the church up in any surface, I'm going to add a few of these wooden blocks from Dollar Tree. We're just going to hot glue them together. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love that we turned a haunted mansion into a church. That is so me. Let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I am going to take these wood pieces. Now, these are 1x2s. You can also find something similar like this at the hardware store, longer, of course. And if you have a miter saw, you can always cut them to size, and I think it's more bang for your buck. But if you do not, this is a great option for you to use these. Now, I sanded them down just a bit, wiped them down, and then I'm going to take these popsicle sticks, and we're just going to add them to the back with hot glue to put everything together and make them nice and sturdy. Now, I decided to also staple them because the wood is nice and thick enough. It would allow me to be able to staple them, and that's exactly what I did. But hot glue would have been sufficient, I think. I have this leftover 25-gallon paint stick. I'm just going to sand it down and place it. Now, I did recently a ruler video, and you guys loved it. Now, I created a pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to do something similar with these wood pieces, except it's going to be a cute little scarecrow. Oh my gosh, you're going to love it. So I painted the bottom half after I kind of placed and traced where I wanted the wood piece in that beautiful sandstone. And then I painted the top orange by Waverly, and I'm going to paint the wood stick also. While that's dry, I'm going to cut a piece of vinyl in the black and the red. The black is going to be for the eyes. I'm just going to make an oval, fold it in half, and then I'm going to cut both eyes at the same time. That way they're going to match in size and shape. I'm going to do the same thing with the red vinyl, except we're going to do a triangle so that we can create a nose. Then once we have it, now the piece is nice and dry, we're just going to add it just like stickers. Remove the back. I'm going to add the eyes first and then the nose. And then for the mouth, I'm just going to freehand it using a permanent marker. All right, so now we're going to attach that wood piece right there on a tilted shape, just like that. And then we're going to add some embellishments. I am going to add some of these. It looks like grassy, just like cornstalk. And we're just going to add it to the back of the hat, just a little bit. And we're going to keep adding towards the top and the front, just a little bit to make it really look like a scarecrow. And I think he's looking adorable. And then we're just going to add a little bit more embellishments with leaves and pumpkin. And this is just going to make it nice and festive for the fall season. And remember, keep in mind that you can use any color combination you want. This will be a great Christmas and winter craft and make it into a snowman. The possibilities are endless, but look how adorable he looks. So festive, but let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this blank wood round, and I love that it has a 3D kind of form. So it has a pumpkin that is textured, but then it also has like a drawn or maybe even burnt design with the leaves. And I just thought instead of paint, I'm going to use markers. These are my paint markers that I love, and I do have them on Amazon store as well. So I'm going to speed it up quite a bit, and I loved doing this. This was so fun. I did the pumpkin in an orange, and then for the leaves and just the greenery around it, I'm going to use 3 different shades of green. And that way it's going to have a little bit of dimension and kind of fun design. So I'm just going to speed it up. Of course, it's going to take a while, but I really enjoy this process. Isn't it looking so beautiful? And it's so simple and so fun. Now, I left the wood round in the natural tone, but you can change the color if you want. Dollar Tree has these ribbons that every year, every season, they bring different designs. I had these for fall, and we're going to make a nice fluffy bow. We're just going to stack both ribbons right on top of each other and then just start looping and scrunching in the middle as we go. And then once I have them where I want it, then I'm going to fluff the bow. So just separating all of the loops, one direction to one, the other one to the other direction, and then tie it in the center with some jute string, of course, because that way it'll be nice and fluffy and we can attach it to the top of the wood round. And I know you're probably tired of me using this whole faux knot hanging situation, but I just love the way they look. So I'm just going to make a couple faux knots, and then we're just going to hot glue them to each side and then flip it over, mark with my finger where I need to add the rope. I'm just going to add hot glue, rope, and then we're also going to tape it so it doesn't fray on us, and that way it's going to be nice and good for either gifting to somebody, keep it, or selling it. And I love the way it turned out. Again, you can paint the wood round if you want, but what a beautiful design. I loved using the markers, but what do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this wood piece. It is planked looking and it's gorgeous. I'm also going to leave this one just like this. I'm just going to sand it down just a little bit. It was a little bit rough to the touch. So just through the planked areas, it does it really well. And this is going to be another quick and easy one. We're going to take another one of those window clings and we're going to Mod Podge different designs. This one has more of a kind of like a pumpkin spice coffee theme. So we're just going to add the little banner on the top and then we're going to keep Mod Podging different things all over the wood piece. And that's it. I told you it was easy, just some Mod Podge, and I love the way it turned out. It's just so simple, festive, and you can add it anywhere in your home. But let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. We're going to start with this embroidery hoop. They are gorgeous. They come in so many different sizes, and this one is pretty nice. And I'm going to mash it together with some of these Dollar Tree fabric. It was only $1.99, and I thought it was a great deal. I'm going to open it up slightly just to remove that inner portion. And then we're going to take the fabric and we're going to iron it just a bit. We want to remove all the wrinkles actually from all over because we do want to use most of the fabric. Then we're going to place it on top of the smaller hoop. We're going to place it upside down and then placing that top portion right on top, pushing it in, of course, and then making sure that we are tightening it and securing it as tightly as we can. It doesn't have to be crazy tight. And then we are going to flip it back to the front. I want to cut the excess off of it, but I thought about leaving about 1/2 inch and I loved that I did that. I'm just going to cut around it, removing all the excess fabric, again, leaving about 1/2 inch of the fabric. Now they are sticking quite up, so I did use my little mini iron to flatten those out and just kind of make them a little bit more sideways. I'm going to add a little bit of this string to the back so that we can hang it, and I'm going to do that adding a little bit of glue to the rim of the hoop, and then we are going to add a little masking tape as well. This is just for extra security. And then we're going to start adding some embellishments to the front, and we're going to add them towards the bottom right corner. We're going to start with these leafy greens that I use all the time because I love them. I love the bright green color. I added 2 of them, and then I'm going to add a piece of foam right there to the middle of them, in that way that we have something to add the rest of the pics. And we're just going to add different greeneries, different florals with a fall theme. And I'm also going to add some foam pieces that Dollar Tree carries, which I thought are so cool. This foam little mushroom didn't have a pic, so I'm going to take a leftover one, hot glue it right inside on the bottom, and then that way we have something to attach it to the foam. And I'm going to do some similar things, just going to keep adding some colorful and tons of fall textured items. And I'm just going to add this last piece right here. And I got to tell you, this one is stunning. Love, love, love this. And the fun part is I can remove everything and still use the hoop from another project. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. For this next DIY craft, we're going to take this wooden box from the thrift store, which had great character, and we're mashing it with a fabric pumpkin from Dollar Tree. Actually, several pumpkins from Dollar Tree. They have tons in different colors, sizes as well. It had a great design. I love that rustic look to it. This plastic cover was meant to kind of maintain water and dirt from the actual box, but we're going to flip it over. We're going to use it in that form. I'm going to sand it down just a little bit with my sanding block to remove any roughness, and then we're going to wipe it well. I want to keep the lighter tone rectangle design in the front, but we want to paint it and give it a fresh new look. So I'm going to tape it using masking tape from Dollar Tree, and then we're just going to give it a fresh coat, actually 3 coats, of Waverly chalk paint and the sandstone, and then of course we're going to let it fully dry. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to add to the front. I ended up deciding on a stencil, just keeping it simple and something that I can use from season to season. So we're going to take this welcome stencil that is reusable from Essential Stencil. I'm going to slightly tape it in each corner just to keep it kind of sturdy. And then I'm going to use the Antiquing Wax by Waverly, and I'm just going to start stenciling it. I love using this technique. It's just using very little amount of paint or wax in this case, and then just dry brushing it almost in a circular motion. And I love, love, love the way it always turns out with a crisp finish. It dried pretty quickly, and we're going to move on to just adding all the pumpkins and design. So we're going to wipe the plastic portion, and we're just going to start haggling right on top of it. I love this idea because then if I want to reuse the box for any other season, I can just remove the plastic portion and have a beautiful box. We're going to hot glue 3 of these pumpkins. They have tons of texture, but they complement each other. And we're going to add moss in between just to cover up those empty spaces and you don't see the plastic portion of it. I'm going to speed up a lot of the process going forward because it is pretty repetitive, but I want you to see all the florals that I added, and I always start with greenery first. These are all from Dollar Tree. I love adding greenery, then adding different color florals, and just keep adding tons of texture layer upon layer until you like what you see. I'm going to add this last one here, and I got to tell you, this is stunning. I love this box. I love that it was only $1.99, and it's on my dining room table, and I love it. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next DIY craft, we're going to take this thrift store mason jar, which is beautiful. This orange tone, oh my gosh. We're mashing it together with tons of florals from Dollar Tree, which you can see every single season, and fall is stunning. It was only 99 cents, which is a great deal. Dollar Tree is $1.25, and this one has a beautiful orange tone. I wiped it really well, and I'm going to trace the top here on some foam, and then we're going to use my X-Acto knife, and we're just going to score it, or kind of, I guess, just cut it, but we're going to cut it with a slight angle going inwards. We're going to snap off all those extra pieces, and then we're going to attach it to the inside of the mason jar. Before that, we are going to poke a hole, and this is because we're going to add lighting, and we want to be able to thread the string lights through there. All right, so we're going to add a little hot glue and just press the foam right there. And I'm going to show you the side view. It fit perfect, but it didn't fall through. All right, so here are the fairy lights. I do get these on Amazon, and I do have them in my Amazon store with tons more of my Amazon favorites, and it's always linked in the description box. All right, so we're going to thread them all the way in, leaving the little battery box outside and then taping it to the jar just like that. And it lights up so beautiful. Oh my gosh, the ambience is gorgeous. We're going to add some more moss to the top just to cover that foam. And again, we're just going to keep adding some florals. I always start with the greenery once again, and then keep adding layer by layer, color by color. And the fun part is there's no right or wrong way. You can add whatever you want. Pumpkins, greenery, florals, ribbon, whatever your heart desires. These little tiny pumpkins were left over from my stash from last year, and I'm so glad I saw them because they are the perfect little pumpkin touch for this arrangement. I think anything bigger would have been just overwhelming, but love how cute they are, and this is coming to an end here, and I gotta tell you, it's one of my favorites. I could have added ribbon to the front, but I just felt it just was beautiful the way it was, and at night it has a beautiful glow. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next DIY craft, we're going to take this glass base I found at the thrift store for $1.99. It's heavy duty and it's really nice. It's a Pampered Chef kind. I don't know what it was used for before, but we're going to use it for an arrangement. We're going to hot glue some of this foam right there, right on top, which worked perfect. It was like the perfect size for it. Anyways, I'm using hot glue because that way I can always heat it up and remove it if I want to reuse the base. But we're going to hot glue this pumpkin right on top. And we're going to, again, add tons of florals. This pumpkin is gorgeous. I love the black and white. I think it's very subtle. and kind of modern, I guess. So again, we're going to start with greenery. We're going to add it all around in between the base and the pumpkin, of course, right inside that foam. And then we're going to add, again, tons of color and texture with tons of leaves and just different things to add that fall festive look. This arrangement is stunning. Oh my word. It's on my dining room table and I'm going to keep it all fall season. The neutral pumpkin with all the colorful florals is just perfect. But let me know what you think. We're going to start with this little tiny wooden cutting board. I'm just going to make a hole right on top. Just I think it needs it. But you don't have to do it, of course, if you don't want to. I'm going to sand down just a little bit, sweep up all the dust, and then we're going to give it a distressed look by dry brushing some white chalk paint by Waverly. We're just going to use a chippy brush and we're just going to add paint here and there, very dry brush technique, so that it already has a nice distressed look. Once I had it where I wanted it, but of course, you can do full coverage if you'd like. I'm going to sand down the edges and just smooth everything out with my sanding block, and then I want to make sure that I dust and wipe really well, because I do want the stickers to stick really well, and they won't if it's dusty. Now it's time to add this jute string. We're just going to add a very simple knot, looping it, and then threading it through the hole, and then we're just going to hot glue it in place so it stays in place. No big deal. You can even skip it if you want. I'm going to take this set of leaf stickers that I think are gorgeous, and I'm just going to start adding them to the bottom of the cutting board. They already have a little sticky tab on the back, but I am going to add hot glue just to make sure they're really, really stuck on there. I'm going to keep adding them and sticking on them almost like if they were just flowers, but we're just going to add them here and there in between each other, underneath, and just stacking them up until it looks nice and pretty. I decided to add a couple of pieces of just some faux foliage. This is just going to add a different type of texture to the design, but of course you can use whatever you have on hand. I decided to keep mine like this instead of adding any graphics to the top. I contemplating adding maybe something like Hello Fall to the top portion, but I kind of like the way it looked like this, so I decided not to. But I'd love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of these picture frames from Dollar Tree. They have an entire section at Dollar Tree of frames. This one had great design and texture. We're going to remove the back temporarily because I want to flip some things around. I want to have the white paper on top, so I'm just going to leave all the parts there. We're just going to make sure that the back of the paper is what's facing forward, and we're going to place it right back on there, securing all the tabs, just like that. All right, so now we're going to take this ribbon. This is just from Dollar Tree. You can skip this part, of course, if you want. You can also paint it if you'd like. And we're just going to trim out all of the trim, all of the edge with it. This frame, of course, is gorgeous the way it is, so you can leave it like this. You can also paint the entire frame if you want. The possibilities are endless. I decided to just trim it with the ribbon because I thought it would be a nice touch of fall color, but yet not too much design. So we're just going to attach it with hot glue and then cut off and trim the edges nice and snug to the edge. Once that was that, then we're just going to start adding some stickers. This is a beautiful design here with just a barrel and some pumpkins and flowers. We're going to place it right there in the center, and then we're going to add all around that. We're just going to stick them and cut and glue as we need, kind of like what we did with the first one, just adding different layers of stickers as well as full foliage all around it to create a nice vignette of beautiful decor. While I was doing this, I realized I was gluing them in the wrong side of the frame, so I had to remove the back and then flip it over. No big deal, but I'm glad I caught it, so just flip it over if you do that same thing. This thankful sticker was a last minute thought. I just thought it needed something up there, like a little phrase, and I just thought what perfect sticker than this one. And this tiny little orange flowers are just great to fill in those little blank spots. And then I added a few right there in front of the green leaves, and this just really popped it off and just really took it to a whole new level. But I love the way this one turned out. You can also add a hanging piece at the back and hang it great piece to add anywhere little in a little corner in your home this fall. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this leftover piece of a paint stick. It's about 6 inches long. We're going to drill a couple of holes, one on each side using my drill. Once drilled, we are going to take the sanding block. We're just going to sanding a little bit just to remove any splinters. And then we're just going to paint it white. And we're going to do the front and the back. Dollar Tree has tons of these wooded bead items, and these are pretty new to my Dollar Tree, and I loved them. Recently, I did another craft using them, and here's just another way you can use these. They come already threaded, but of course, you can open them up like I'm doing here and use them as you want. I'm going to add a little dab of glue on the tassel. That way, it's not going to come apart on me. And then we're just going to take a combination of natural wood tone beads, darker ones, white ones, and then we're going to take some and we're going to paint them orange in the Waverly chalk paint in the pumpkin tone. We're creating another beaded garland, but this one's going to be very different and I can't wait to show you. All right, so I just painted them, and sticking them on this foam and a skewer stick really makes painting them really easy. I didn't do this last time, and trust me, I paid for it. All right, well, that's drying. We're going to take some of the stickers that we're going to use. We're going to use this one. We're actually going to cut half of it, and we're going to place it right there in the center, reinforcing with a little hot glue. And then we're just going to add other pumpkin designs on each side of the sticker. Now it's time to put everything together, so we're just going to take some jute string, making sure that it's long enough to fit every piece of this design. Thread it through one side of the wood piece, knot it in a nice simple knot, and adding a little dab of hot glue to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. And don't worry if it looks a little messy, because we're going to cover that up. Now we're going to start threading the beads in a specific pattern that I chose, but you can choose any pattern you want, of course. Once I have exactly half the beads on one side, I want to add the tassel right there in the middle. So we're going to cut off the excess string from the original tassel, and we're just going to thread this string right through the middle. And then we're going to make a very simple knot so that it looks nice and secure. And then we're going to start threading all the other beads on the other side in the same pattern I chose earlier. Once done, we're just going to thread it through the other end of the wood piece, and we're just going to tie it in a knot. That's it. Now, remember I said we're going to cover up that nice knot there. So we're just going to use some of the leafy greens that we used earlier, and we're going to cover both sides, and they're going to mimic each other. So adding them right there really covers it up, and I think it actually added so much more design. Really love the way it turned out. A tiny little flower right there on top on each side, and that really pulled everything together. This is a great piece you can display maybe in a console table or maybe in a corner hung on a frame. Whatever it is, it's gorgeous. It has a great design for fall, and it's so easy. How fun is this? We use stickers, and it's so inexpensive. Let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take one of these wooden pieces from Dollar Tree. You can find these shelves as well as those wood planks year-round, and I have these few pieces that are left over from other projects. This one was just a part of a smaller shelf, and this one was part of a longer plank that I had cut, and we just cut a piece, so we're going to use these left over. We're going to remove the jute string, and then we're going to fill in the holes with some spackle so it looks nice and finished. This spackle is from Dollar Tree, and you can find it in the either crafting aisle or the automobile aisle. Once all filled in, we're going to take a scraper. We're just going to remove the excess and put it to the side to dry. Then once dry, then you can just sand down and just make it smooth, whatever you want. I'm going to paint these, but of course they're wooden, so you can stain them if you want. I choose a beautiful orange by Waverly in the pumpkin tone, as well as a moss color for the other one. We put them to the side and let them dry, and then we're going to attach them together one in front of the other. We're going to make a little pumpkin patch design here. We're going to add them, and then we're going to add these little wood stems from Dollar Tree. You can find them year-round again in the crafting aisle, and just hot gluing them really did work. We're going to add some similar style foliage on each, just facing different directions, and a little hot glue goes a long way. We're going to add more on top, keeping it very, very simple because we want the stickers to be the star of the show. This is another set of those fall leaf stickers, and we're just going to cut as needed, hot gluing one on top of each other, kind of like what we did earlier, but just really making them nice and simple, but yet making them pop. I'm going to add these little wood tumbling pieces from Dollar Tree, a couple of them in the back so that we can stand this piece up. It's a light piece, so two of them really did the work. And we're going to finish it off by adding some of these little berries right there just to add a pop of texture, design, and color. And I think this one is stunning. The colors are gorgeous. And adding those stickers, although it was not needed, it really adds a fun design. But what do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. This square one is such a fun one, and I wanted to do something with it. It's a 10 by 10, and we're just going to remove the plastic from it. The first thing we want to do is we want to trace it on some cardboard, put it to the side, and then add a layer of Mod Podge to the top. You've probably seen me use this technique before. We're going to put it on the sides and the top, and then let it fully dry. And while that is drying, we're going to cut that piece of cardboard we traced, and we're going to cut it just a tiny bit smaller than the line we traced. Then we're going to take the cardboard and we're just going to trace it on top of some white vinyl. We're going to cut that up, and then we're going to place it right on top. If it's not perfect on the edges, that's okay. We're going to cover that up anyways. Just flatten it out as best as you can using your fingers. And then we are going to use the rotary cutter, and we're just going to cut off any excess on the sides. Now we're going to start placing some florals right there in the center. Now I saw a similar craft on Pinterest recently, and I thought I have got to try this with a Dollar Tree canvas, but 3D style. And this is where the 3D style comes into play. These florals are all from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to start placing them right there in the center, making them fluffy and very, very bright. Once that, we're going to put that to the side, and we're going to take one of Dollar Tree's fabric. This is one of the ones from their fall selection and has a beautiful plaid style. We're going to iron out just a little bit to remove some of the wrinkles, and then we're going to cut a piece that's maybe about an inch bigger than the cardboard on all sides. Now this is the canvas. It's all dry. We're going to take the little mini iron, the mini heat press, and we're going to place it right there with some parchment paper, and we're just going to iron that fabric. I'm going to do the sides as well, and then we're going to cover it up and finish it off with some hot glue and staples. We're just going to wrap this entire canvas just like it was, but with the fabric. I'm going to go all around adding hot glue as well as stapling it in every corner. Now I'm going to take my ruler, and we're just going to start making some crisscross lines inside the canvas. Several of them just going back and forth. And then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, and we're just going to cut those lines, making sure that it goes through the canvas as well as the fabric. Once that's done, we are going to add hot glue, and we're going to place that cardboard with all of those florals right through it. And you're going to see here in just a minute the magic of it. All those flowers and all that decor is going to pop through. So this is called a blowout canvas. Isn't that awesome? It's just busted through the front, and we're just going to take those pieces that we cut off, and we're just going to hot glue them kind of rolled outwards as if all of those flowers have busted through the center of the canvas. So fun and so easy. And of course, you can use any color combination you want. So we're going to attach this last piece right here, and then we're just going to add a small little jute string to the back. This is so that we can hang it. You can also add some maybe wood blocks to the back, and that way you can stand it up on a surface. But I think it's absolutely stunning. How fun, and so many options, so many possibilities. I'd love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take this canvas, and we're going to remove, of course, the plastic, and then we're just going to paint it orange. We're just going to do this pumpkin orange tone by Waverly. We're going to do a couple of coats to it and then let it fully dry, of course. Now, Dollar Tree carries these as doilies, and often I see them in different colors for different holidays, but we're just going to stick with some of these white ones, and we're going to spray the back with some Gorilla adhesive spray. And we're just going to place a couple of the larger ones right there, one to each side, and then the smaller one in the center. I am now going to add a series of just greenery. These are some leftover leaves from other projects. And then we're just going to add some Dollar Tree picks here and there, adding tots of color and texture. Because the pumpkin, this is going to be a pumpkin, because the pumpkin is white, I want to make sure that there's a lot of color that's going to complement and bring everything together with the orange and the white. So I'm going to add several of these, and then I went outside and I grabbed a stick, just literally a stick. And I'm going to cut it into the size that I kind of want to see on this pumpkin. Now, I wanted it to stick out above the canvas. That's just the design I wanted, but you choose whatever you want. You can even use Dollar Tree stems if you'd like, but I think it's gorgeous. I've never made anything like this before, and I love the way those doilies look, but I'd love to know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take 2 different canvases and we are going to take everything off from it, including all of the canvas. Now this takes a little bit, so we're going to speed it up for you. Just take all the staples out very carefully, and then we are going to expose the frame. Now sometimes you don't know what kind of frame you're going to get, so we're just going to play with what we got. Now this one was a little rough on the touch, so we're just going to sand it down just a little bit with my sanding block. And then we're going to paint the small one white, and then the larger one we're going to paint in the sandstone, both by Waverly. The sandstone is just a beautiful beige color. I wanted to keep the actual frames in a neutral color, but again, of course, you can choose whatever colors you want. We put them to the side, let them dry, and now we're going to join them together towards the left bottom corner, adding hot glue on the side as well as the bottom, right there. Then we're going to take some burlap ribbon. Of course, you can use any ribbon you want. I'm just going to cut it in half, and we're going to hot glue it in that left hand corner, just joining both pieces together. And now we're going to add greenery and florals in that corner. And I think this is, I can't wait for you to see it. It's such an easy and simple craft, but yet so full of character and color. Anyways, we're going to add the green leaves as a base, and then we're just going to add different colorful florals and picks from Dollar Tree. And again, I can't say it enough. You can add whatever you want. I did add a small little pumpkin. I just thought it would add so much character and texture, but I love the way this one turned out. How fun are these? You can hang it on the wall or you can place it on the tabletop. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. I'm going to take this leftover summer tag sign and we're going to remove everything from it, including all of the glitter and texture, using my electric sander. Once removed, I am going to dust it really well because we're going to cover the surface using wallpaper. I recently did another video using these peel and stick wallpaper, and I had this one left over. I'm going to place it on the back, trace it, and then I'm going to cut it. But I'm going to cut it just a little bit larger than what the actual line is. And then we're going to just peel the back and place it on top. Attach it really, really well, and then we're going to use my electric sander once again. And we're just going to remove the excess small little pieces left over on the sides. And it's also going to cause those edges to be nice and smooth and distressed. The metal piece we are using for this project is this corrugated one. I've used this in the past and I really love it. It does have like a curve to it, so I'm just going to slightly bend it so that it's as straight as possible. I'm going to add plenty of glue to where I want to place it on the board and then attach it right there until it hardens. Now be careful because hot glue does make the metal really hot. I'm going to use these upholstery tags that I had on hand, and I'm just going to place one on each little hole that was on each side or each corner of the metal plaque. Now it does go through, obviously. That's why I do have that piece of wood on the bottom, but don't worry, we're going to remove that and I'll show you how I do that. Placing one in each was not necessary to hold it. The hot glue really held it, but I think you just add a level of character and design, and I really like it. All right, so we're just going to use my wire cutters, and we're just going to cut those as close as possible, but it's not flush, so you can still scratch any surface or someone. So we're going to then add plenty of glue hiding that little part, and then we're just going to set it aside and then let that harden. All right, so while that is hardening, we're going to make a little wreath. Now these little wreath forms I get on Amazon. They come in a pack, and I do have them on my Amazon store. If you want to check them out, they are linked down below. So we're going to take some of these faux boxwood pieces from Dollar Tree, and we're going to start just placing them around the wreath form. Now I want the wreath form is a little small, so I want the actual design to be a little larger. So we're going to fan them out, And we're going to do that all around, adding as much or as little as I want. This is coming together so beautifully. All right, so we're going to add tons of color using these fall flowers from Dollar Tree, and we're going to add 3. We're just going to make it in a triangle form, and then we're going to hot glue them in place and hold them until they harden. So now have the pieces nice and dry, and they're not going to damage or hurt anyone. We're going to add a lot of glue to the back of the little mini wreath, and then we're just going to place it on the top. Now you can leave the bottom as is. It actually doesn't look bad, but I do have these window clings that I'm obsessed with, and I love them. Now I do know that they stick to these metal quite nicely, but it did not to this one because it has all that texture and design. So we're going to use my Gorilla adhesive spray. We're going to spray the back of it. It does curl up when you spray it, but that's okay. Just be very careful and work quickly. And then we're just going to make sure that the design of the corrugated part does come through the vinyl, and it looks so cute. All right, so we're going to take some of this rope. This is Dollar Tree's white nautical rope, and it is on the thicker side. They have 2 sizes, and we're just going to make a faux knot, and we're just going to place it on the top. Because this is a tag, we're just going to use 1 knot instead of 2, and then we're going to place another piece in the back, hot glue it, and tape it. This is going to make it seem like it's hanging from the knot, but it's just a faux knot. But look how stunning this looks. Oh my word, I love, love, love the way this turned out. That pumpkin is just gorgeous. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this galvanized or metal mason jar style plaque. I'm also going to take my crop dial. This is pretty much like a hole puncher, and it goes through a lot of different materials, including metal. And I'm just going to poke many holes to the top, as many as I see fit. I did add a couple extra here and there. And we're just going to add some of these Dollar Tree picks. These are from their fall collection. And we're just going to start placing them one at a time through the holes. Now, yes, it is going to be showing in the back, and it's going to be bulky, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to hide that, or not hide it, but at least contain it. So once I had it when I wanted, we're just going to adjust the picks as needed, flip it over, and this is where we're going to bring in some clear tape. We're just going to push the sticks right there as close as possible to the surface, and then we're just going to place several pieces of the tape to hold it in place, and it sticks really well to the metal, so it's not going to go anywhere. Now, it does overlap on the side, so basically you just want to cut the excess and make it as pretty as you can. Now, once it was attached, it's time to then start adding a few things to the front. Now, I told you about the window clings. This is what they look like. I love using these. I use them all the time for every season, actually. So we're going to take this beautiful one. We're going to cut off the wheels portion of the wagon, which is not going to need it for this one, although it's very pretty. We're going to place it to the bottom. And like I told you, it does stick. It does come off. Of course, it's a window cling. If you want it to be a little bit more permanent, you can definitely spray it again. I'm going to cut off the excess and make it nice and trimmed on the edges. We're going to take another one, and we're going to place it in kind of like towards the middle, right there. And do the same thing. Just flatten it out until it attaches. For the top, we're just going to create a very simple fluffy bow with multiple loops. And I'm going to use this pumpkin Dollar Tree ribbon. I'm just going to scrunch it in the middle, tie it in the center with some jute string. We're going to fluff it a little bit, cut off the excess string, and then we're just going to hot glue it to that top right corner. Now, it already had that jute string, the mason jar, so we're not going to need anything else to hang it, but I think it's so adorable. And of course, you can use any florals you want, and you can reuse this piece, honestly. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of these wood blanks from Dollar Tree, especially the one shaped like a house. I buy these all the time when I see them because they have such a unique shape, and you can use them for any season. We're going to remove the jute string, and then we're going to paint this one. Of course, you don't have to. It has a beautiful wooden brown tone, but I want this one to have a very farmhouse style, so we're just going to give it one coat of the sandstone tone from Waverly. Let it dry. Dollar Tree has tons of florals for every season, and fall, it is absolutely stunning. The colors and everything that you can find. We're going to use this boxwood. It has a beautiful fall tone, and we're going to do the same thing we did earlier. We're just going to make a small little wreath. This one's going to be a little smaller, so I'm cutting the picks a little smaller so that way it's a little bit more contained. And we're just going to hot glue them all around and then add this green tone one just in between to make it fuller. Now that the paint is dry, we're going to distress the edges. I want this to be heavily distressed, but of course, as always, you do not have to do this. You can skip this part if you'd like and make it fully coverage. Once it was nicely distressed, I dusted it well, and we're going to bring in these metal words. Now, this is not a plaque, but I love using these metal words, especially the ones that are for holidays like these. I'm going to stick with the harvest one, and I'm just going to dry fit it first. I'm just going to keep it there without gluing it because I want to know where exactly I'm going to place the wreath. I'm going to attach it with hot glue, and then we're going to attach the word using glue. But of course, you got to work kind of quickly because the metal does make that hot glue dry really fast. And again, be careful because it does get hot. All right, we're going to take some jute string. We're going to make tiny little faux knots. Now, I could have done it the natural way, but I want those knots to be a little thicker. So I'm just going to add the faux knots to each little hole in the front and then some jute string to the back. And again, we're going to tape it because that way it's going to avoid any fraying of the rope. Just like that, easy peasy. That's it. What a gorgeous and very simple craft. You can do this for any season. You can even do it for the Christmas season, and I think it'd be gorgeous. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of these wired wreath forms from Dollar Tree. You can find them year round. And I'm going to take this golden tone one, and we're going to take Dollar Tree ribbon with a fall theme. Now, I'm going to do my best to explain what I'm doing here. Now, this is a technique that I don't know if anyone has used. I'm sure somebody has, but I've never seen it. And this is just me making something up because I wanted to do something different. So we're going to take two different styles of ribbon. We're going to loop them through one of the wires facing one way, and then take the other style, loop it underneath another wire and facing the other way. Then we're going to take the other ribbon and we're going to loop it underneath each loop and keep doing this and repeating this all the way around. Now, it's very repetitive, so I'm speeding it up quite a bit. Now, if you run out of ribbon, just attach the matching ribbon to the end, just like that, and then continue to design it. Again, I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. I'm just looping it one way and another, making sure that it's looped underneath each loop so that you can continue to do that. We're going to leave a space of about 6 inches, maybe 7 or 8 inches, something like that, because we want to attach the metal plaque to it. So once you continue to do this design, what we're doing is a base so that then we can add some florals to it. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Once I was done, I'm going to hot glue the last piece towards the back. And this is where we're just going to add some picks in between, kind of like in a bed of ribbon, kind of like that. All right, so we're going to start with this greenery picks, and then we're going to move on to the different leaves and colorful ones, and then finally some cute pumpkins that we can add and add tons of fall character. Isn't it looking so festive? I just love the way this turned out, and I know that maybe the ribbon part didn't make sense, but it made sense to me, and I hope you can recreate if you'd like. All right, again, we're going to take some of those clings, and we're just going to attach them to this plaque. It just sticks so well, and it's such an easy way to customize. But of course, if you have a cutting machine, you can always create your own design and place it. But how fun are these? So easy. All right, we're going to tape a pipe cleaner to the back of it with more of that clear tape, and we're going to use that to attach it to the wreath form. So just place it there, turn it upside down, and then you just want to twist it. Now the goal here is to make it look like all those leaves and flowers and ribbons are just falling over on top of that plaque. So just make sure you just kind of adjust and then bring everything towards the top so it just has a nice natural flow onto the plaque. And I think it's stunning. I love the colors. I just love fall, first of all. But I think adding that ribbon in the bottom as a touch of like a base and then adding all that flowers, I love it. But let me know what you think of this one. I have another video here for you with tons more of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.